And I almost forgot to get live, so that starts well. Hi everyone, thanks for watching Homo Ludens, the channel on history and board games. Tonight I have a few guests coming over to play Fire in the Lake, the Fall of Saigon. I'd like to thank GMT for providing a review copy of this game for this show. Fall of Saigon is an expansion for Fire in the Lake that was just released a few weeks ago. It covers the last 3 years of the Vietnam War, a period that wasn't covered in the original con game on the topic. We picked up the scenario that starts with the Easter Offensive of 1972. We probably won't go through the whole game, but that should still be a good opportunity to show the mechanics introduced within this expansion. If you're watching us live, well, first of all, thanks for watching us live. As usual, feel free to add comments and I will bring them on screen so that our guests can react. And if you're watching this after the show, I will have added time codes in the description so you can navigate, because we're going to have a bit of a chat first and we're going to play. Maybe I would put some time codes at different moments of the game, and then we'll have a short debrief. To play tonight, I have a few esteemed guests. First of all, I have the always annoying but extremely lovable Cory Graham to be with us tonight. Hey, Cory, thanks for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me, man.
So it's a pleasure to have you again. I feel like it has been a while since we've had you on the show.
Yeah, it's been a hot minute. It's been I can't remember what we did last.
Yeah, I don't remember, but you need to come more often. I think that's the lesson here.
Yeah, absolutely.
As guest number 2 is my game design husband and podcast co-host, the infamous Joe Dewhurst. Hey Joe, how are you doing?
Hey Fred, I'm doing very well. I think possibly I should come less often on the show, actually.
Yeah, probably. That's also something that I was thinking. I was thinking about Cory, not enough. You, maybe too much. So it's something to something to think about. No, I always like to have you on the show, especially as you have this tendency that when my brain freezes, you always catch up. So that's always a good safety net for me. So that's always good. But thanks for being here tonight. And for the first time on the show, a new friend that I hope to have often on the show here. So we'll see in 2023, but that's at least my plans, is to convince her to come back. So please, Joe and Cory, be nice. Liz Davidson, hey, thanks for being here.
Yeah, this is awesome. I'm excited about it.
Yeah, I hope so. Not too worried.
I mean, I'm gonna suck at it, but that's fine. Like,
yeah, but that's fine. I mean, like, that's the trademark that I have. It's like on the show, I come, I invite people. I'm really bad. People are really mean to me, and that's just part of the fun. I think it's gonna be just this time. We might be there will be two of us. That's the thing. But I hope that you'll deliver on being bad, though, because sometimes I feel lonely. But no, it's really great that you've been here, that you're here tonight. So we had actually a chat, I think, a couple of months ago on your channel, Beyond Solitaire. Awesome channel. So if by any chance, which I would be surprised by, someone in the audience doesn't know the show, you should go check out these channels and podcast. Really great content over there. And there was an interview of yours truly a while back. That was quite fun. Thanks again for inviting me then. And I decided to have one surprise guest. He is a traditional surprise guest, so at this point it shouldn't be a surprise anymore, because actually it should be a surprise when he's not a surprise guest. But he hasn't been here for a while, so I'm really excited to have him back again. We have with us tonight, at least for the beginning, as an introduction, Volko Runki. Hey Volko, how are you doing?
Hi Fred, thanks for putting this on, and thanks to the group for enduring what is to come.
Yes, we'll see how it goes. I think it's gonna be great. I'm a bit somewhat worried. I never so I only played Fire in the Lake. I think I never played a full game. I think Joe tried to make me play it a few times, but we only played a couple of maybe campaigns, but that's pretty much it. So I'm double worried. I think it's the game that I find the most daunting in the coin series that I've never really engaged with, and on top of that, we're playing the expansion, so it's the double. So to double the complexity around all that. But
yeah, this will be challenging.
Good, but that's thanks for your reassuring words, Volko. I really appreciate it.
It will be fine.
Before we start, I wanted to maybe ask you a couple of questions about the expansion, Volko. So The first question that I have for you is, and I don't have a lot of questions, just to be clear, we're going to play really soon because we really want to get into the game, but I thought it would be nice to have you on to ask you just a few questions. And the first one is that I was wondering about is, when with Mark you were working on Fire in the Lake, when did you make the decision of not covering the end of the war? And was that a frustration in the original design process?
Yeah. Early and no is the bottom line. While we Americans at least tend to think of the U.S. part of the Vietnam War as 65 to 75, this was going to be explicitly a look at the heavy counterinsurgency period. And certainly that was going on by 64. So we started in 64 and was no longer a multi-factional counterinsurgency, but went more and more to a two-way conventional war after 72. So we stopped at the end of 72 with what would have been the Paris Peace. And that actually made I think the design and the adaptation of the setting to the coin series much cleaner and easier, particularly because Mark's original idea for a Vietnam War game that he had long wanted to do was much more focused on the internal Vietnamese factional politics than just the U.S. involvement, and that meant a strong VC as a competitor to the Northerners, and of course the VC, role diminished over time and to become pretty much an appendage, probably before 73, but certainly by then.
And what were what do you say the major changes that are introduced by that expansion to the core game?
So the original idea for the expansion came from Mark, who wanted to go ahead and take the story to the Fall of Saigon in 75, but reasoned that it's really a two-player game if you do a historical start after the Paris Peace. So we had available by that time Brian Train's two-player sequence of play they use in Colonial Twilight, which is brilliant, gives you a very similar decision experience to the four-player sequence of play that's the heart of the coin series, and puts a lot more focus on the operations and a battle for initiative using the events, if you can, to maintain initiative. So really, really great. So we just lifted that and had a two-player game. However, once we did that was kind of the easier part. We realized that surely players would want to be able to link the previous game to the 73 to 75, and that meant we needed to have a four-way, because it's possible in an alternative history that you're playing out that the factions start 73 in a very different position. And so that's why Mark came up with the Paris Peace transition mechanic that we'll see today. And so what we're going to play, you can play then, once we have that, you could go if you want to start in 64, 65, 68, or 72, all the way to 73, you can play anything you want. So if you're really a fanatic, maybe you can do a 12-hour show someday on 64 to 75. But today we'll do the show with the bells and whistles of the transition, but starting in 72.
And this is just
what we'll do someday. What we'll do someday is a 12-hour show from 61 to 75. In fact.
Yeah, that's what I was
that's
about
right.
to say.
We're explaining it earlier. Yeah,
So
so that's so you said one other thing is, of course, we had to give more simulation to the conventional and especially the armored conflict. So you get armor units now, spearhead up special activities, and ways for the U.S. to stay involved, to show what its involvement was in more of a support role again, 73 to 75. So all of that comes into play as new stuff as well.
And just to explain to our viewers who are not necessarily aware of what's coming up in the coin series, what Joe was referring to is that there is another expansion that is in the works currently in P500 called Sovereign of Discord, that actually covers the early part of the war, so the transition between French Indochina and the beginning of the Vietnam War. And we do have this plan. It's maybe a crazy plan, but what we want to do is actually do maybe a series of stream where we'll cover the whole, so from Sovereign of Discord to the Fall of Saigon. So a mega epic Fire in the Night. So between
Sink or swim with no Denzim.
Yes. And the thing is that, so I'm not really I would have to build confidence with the system before that. And Liz, if you want to do it, we have probably, I don't know, something like a year to prepare something like this. So maybe we can do it. But
Why
that
not?
could be pretty fun. But we'll take quite some time. I'm actually quite excited also about that future expansion. So we'll see when it comes up. Maybe one last question to you, Volko, before we start getting into the game. So Fire in the Lake was released in 2014. This expansion is released in 2022. Between those 8 years, your focus has shifted from the Coin series to the Levian campaign series. And I was wondering, how did it feel to actually also go back into that expansion, redoing some design work on the Coin series?
Mm-hmm.
And does that mean that potentially you will like come back slightly to Coin, or this is really behind you and now you're all focused on Levian campaign?
Yeah, well, I should mention that it was a great opportunity when a game sells out, that you have the opportunity then to fix a lot of stuff and benefit from what you've learned from so many people playing it. So we had that already with second edition Fire in the Lake, which for me is, I think it's running the way I always wanted. That is, we finally tuned the engine over time to, I don't know, get out any remaining rattles. Fire in the Lake second edition, and then Fall of Saigon, I came in because Mark Herman wanted to do it. And sort of a general rule of war game design, if this ever happens to you, if Mark Herman wants you to do a game with him, you generally should say yes. And and that was cool too, because it's wonderful working with Mark, since he just generates ideas, so quickly. And very fortunately for me, because this was an immense testing and tuning and development process, especially for this transition engine to work that we're going to see today. So Joe and Jason Carr at GMT and many others did, I would say, the real work, and that was fortunate for me, because then I could continue with other projects like Levian Campaign as well.
Great. Maybe just because I already see that it's been mentioned in the comments. So talking about Almoravid, but there is also Inferno coming soon. I guess the question is, will you come back on the show for a teach and play of either one of those, or both, or what's your plans?
I would be happy to. And with Inferno about to come out, my mind is pretty focused on that. So that's probably the most efficient for me to come and teach. And I think we will see it reaching market it'll be weeks, not months. So it's soon.
Great. Good. Then you've heard it here. So as soon as Inferno is out, we'll plan for teach and play of this game, as we did for Nevsky, which was a lot of fun. So really looking forward to that. But thanks, Volko, for answering those few questions. I'm going to bring up Vassal on stream, because if you're wondering how people from all across the States and across an ocean, so because Joe and I are in the UK, are able to play together, it's because we're using a software called Vassal. Vassal is a free software, and as a matter of fact, GMT has the very nice habit of providing Vassal modules for free, so we can play together online. So this is how we play. And before we start playing and give maybe the mic to Joe to actually explain what each factions are trying to do and giving an overarching understanding of how the game plays, maybe Volko, can you give us a bit of context of where this scenario is starting? So that's the Easter Offensive 1972 scenario.
Right, which is the shortest scenario that you can play that has the 4-player game transition from the U.S. is there, still militarily involved, the Paris Peace to see what South Vietnam looks like after the U.S. is officially pulled out and is in an advise and assist role again. So we're going to play essentially 1 year. It's 1972. That was a very active year. It was mostly Vietnamese, not U.S. fighting, but the U.S. was still there, especially with air power. And then coming out of that, depending on how the factions do in that one period, we'll have the Paris Peace transition. And we'll see. Maybe the U.S. doesn't withdraw, or maybe the North Vietnamese don't get as much or get even more at the peace table than they historically did. Historically, after the Paris peace, it was set up. Historically, the VC had been knocked back a great deal in the previous 5 years of fighting. They may be more active here today, but historically, then you had mainly the North Vietnamese conventionally preparing to conventionally invade the South and doing so very successfully to a final April 75. So we're going to play that, but we're going to play it. Who knows what will happen in 1972 in the game compared to historically. So that means, the 4 factions will still be standing in some way to fight out the final battle, which I know we won't get to the full length of it today or tonight. But we'll have a sense, I think, of how did the Paris peace resolution go compared to history.
Yeah, that's the plan. So we're hoping to play through 2 of the 4 campaigns of the scenario. So that should be we should have the Paris peace come in and start showing some of the mechanics of the Fall of Saigon. So we'll see how it goes. But I expect that within a 2-hour stream, we'll probably won't go further than that. But let's do our best. But thanks a lot, Volko, for taking the time and providing that historical context. And as I would say, you are welcome whenever you want. So thanks for being here. Before we start, Liz, Joe, and Cory, maybe each of us could tell to our viewers who we are playing tonight. And we can start with you, Liz, so people have in mind which faction we're each taking in this specific game.
All right, so I drew the Viet Cong, the VC faction. So I'm a little bit on the ropes here from what I can tell. But I'm going to be trying to increase opposition to the terrible imperial overtaking of my country. Thank you. I'm going to be trying to build as many bases as possible. And I know that my victory is based on a combination of the amount of opposition I can drum up and the amount of bases I can place. So that is my goal for this session.
Great. And your partner player is going to be Cory. Cory, can you tell us who you're playing and what's your objective?
I will be playing North Vietnam, and my goal is to control as much territory as possible, and eventually Saigon.
Nice. And all your bases are out already. So
all my bases are out. The goal is to keep them out, but yes, we'll see.
Good. We'll see if that happens. And you, Joe?
I'll be playing the valiant United States, who are here to liberate South Vietnam. But we're aiming to build support for the South Vietnamese government, essentially, and also have as few as our troops as possible involved in the conflict. That's the aim. So maximum support, minimum casualties.
Good. And I will be Joe's partner player. I will be playing the Republic of South Vietnam. And what I really want is patronage. That's really what I'm in it for. And obviously, if I can maintain some form of control over my territory, that would be a bonus. But yeah, so those are the factions for tonight. And I think we can probably jump in. So Joe, let me know if there are specific things you want me to show when you're talking about stuff. But I guess that pretty quick, we should be able to jump into the game.
Yep, we can just get started. I'll draw the first cards in a moment, so you might want to show those occasionally.
Yeah.
And just 2 things to note about this particular scenario is that the VC and the Arvin pivotals have already been played, but Cory has his Easter Offensive pivotal for the MVA, which he can actually play on the first turn if he wants. And I have the Linebacker 2 pivotal for the US, which I can't immediately play, but I might be able to. The other thing to note is just
I'm just showing that Easter Offensive card right now on screen.
Yep. So this lets him do a big move and then fight, basically big attack. The other thing to note, which I won't go through in detail, there are a bunch of these capabilities in play at the start as well, and these broadly strengthen the North Vietnamese trail and their bombard capacity, and also kind of strengthen the South Vietnamese army, which was more competent and more capable by this point in the war. So yeah, that's what we have there. So I'll draw the first 2 events and we can just dive in.
Nice.
So we begin with bombing pause, which is actually a North Vietnamese first, so they could take a full turn or could choose to play their pivotal if they wish.
Oh yeah, so the events are going to be on the right here. So we have
Yeah,
Dong
that's right, that's
Pose,
correct.
yeah, and we have North Vietnam as first eligible, and then the upcoming event is going to be Phan Quang Dun. Okay,
Yep.
good.
All right, so I actually was going to start off with the Easter Offensive, but I think I might just take advantage of the full turn to do a little bit of setup. So what I'm going to do... remind me, do we actually use the new packs in this part of the game, or do we still use the old packs right now?
Not
So you
yet.
can do, but you just use the old content of the new packs, if that makes sense.
Yeah, okay. Couldn't remember if anything else had changed, but all right, cool. All right, so
And
what's up?
if you want what you think, there is a question from Alan Salazar, and that's probably for Volko, asking if there is a Walter Cronkite card.
I don't think there certainly are media related cards, and a lot of them or several of them in the original Fire in the Lake. When was Walter Cronkite? I thought he was particularly pivotal in the late 60s.
I think there's a Cronkite interview card in the base game.
In the base game.
Yeah.
The base game, yeah.
Which could possibly come up in this deck. I think it's possible.
All right, yeah, so I'm going to do a whole bunch of marching from North Vietnam down into Quang Tri. Oh, yeah.
A lot of guys.
I'm already sweating.
Good. And then I'm going to go ahead and... So I'm going to have to pay a resource for that. I'm going to make use of the trail to march guys from northeast Cambodia, my troops, up to southern Laos, and then up into... it's covered. It's Tay Ninh, right?
Quang Tin. I'll uncover it.
Thank you.
Cool.
So that's going to be 2 resources for that march, 1 resource for North Vietnam, right?
Yep. Yeah,
Okay.
that's right. It's for each destination. Yeah.
And be careful, I think you have some units that are technically on the lock here.
Yep. I'll take care of neatening things up for Cory.
I appreciate you. All right. The fishhook, amazingly, my units in the fishhook seem to already be set up the way I want them to be to go into and lock.
Yeah, that's just yeah. It was a tiny bit worrying already the way you dispose them.
Right. So we got that done. Do I want to move those guys?
And one nice feature of Vassal, which people might see if they're looking at this, is the control will change automatically for us, which makes it very quick and easy to play this.
It does. It's so nice. And then, yeah, I'm going to go for the Delta as well. Right down here out of the Parrot's Beak.
Cool.
Don't want to move the guys there. Want to keep those and those in reserve. Do I?
One nice other feature of all the Fall of Saigon for me and Fred is that every faction except VC can't win unless they're controlling Saigon. So even if Cory takes a lot of territory, we don't need to worry if we can keep control of Saigon.
All right, so that is very true, and this is part of the reason why I've always done poorly with NVA in this expansion, because I got to go for Saigon just a little too early.
Yep.
All right, so I've done that. I'm going to then do some bombards.
Yep. And keep in mind with your long-range guns, you can bombard free spaces if you wish.
I'm going to. All
and
right.
just maybe for people to understand what's happening, I'm just gonna place your marker on up NSA here.
Yep.
Appreciate it. All right, and so bombard, it just lets me reduce enemy forces where they have a base or 3+ troops, and it is either where I have 3+ troops or is next to a space where I have 3+
correct.
troops.
Yep.
It's not the most effective thing, but I like it.
You can ping a few US troops, which is pretty effective.
Yeah. So I'm going to start off with Anlock because I can't get a US troop there, which is sad. But I can kill an Arvin troop. So I'm going to do that, and that goes to casualties, right? Or is it
to available at this point?
Okay.
Yeah, not near. Not
It's
yet,
later. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. But then in Da Nang, I'm going to go off and ping a troop.
Yep. So that's a technical term, I believe. Technical military jargon.
And I'm going to do it here in... Wait, can I?
You could do Saigon. Where are you looking?
I was looking at Bin Din, but I'm going to do Saigon instead.
That's a VC base there, sadly. Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, so both U.S. troops go to casualties. One Vietnam troop went to available. That's my turn. Big old march and some bombardments.
And I think, Cory, it was your first mistake. So I think it's looking good. It's looking good for the Republic of South Vietnam. So I'm gonna look to my American friends. The thing that I'm thinking is that I don't know. I'm tempted to take the event, but then again, I'm thinking if I pass, I can have a full turn. Next,
You could also just take the next event, which is great for you.
Yeah, I haven't even looked at what I looked at is just the fact that I could have a full turn. Shift Saigon 1 turn. Yeah. Oh, but that's exactly what I want to do. I want to get. So my objective for that campaign is get as much patronage as I can. So, or not really patronage, aid. I want aid, but a bit of patronage is also nice. And shift 1 toward. So that would put Saigon at active support. But then again, that's more good for you than for me, though.
Yeah, well, it's up to you.
Yeah.
So alliance-minded, Fred.
And it's just for people watching the stream to know what's up. So that's, I'm tempted to. Actually, I'm going to pass. So I'm going to place my marker here, and if I pass, I think that I get 3 resources, right?
Correct. Yep.
I
do get 3 resources, and I can increase it here. 1, 2, 3.
The red cylinder would be 1 box down because he did the special
He did.
Yeah, it should be.
He did up NSA. Yeah, here it is.
Yep. So you pass, which leaves me next eligible, and I will actually play. Well, yeah, I'll play this event. I think that's worth doing to me. It will help me. So I can set 2 spaces to passive support because they appreciate that I'm not bombing them anymore. It's the US way of persuasion. So I'm actually going to set Quang Tin and Quang Tri, which are occupied by the MVA, to support. So population.
Are you saying the US way of support is, hey, love us, we're not going to bomb you?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And I'm also giving 2 patronage to Fred for this because
Nice.
I love him very much. Okay, so 2 of us have taken actions, which means it's the end of the. And there's also no airstrike allowed, which, whatever. Yep. So we've done our action, so I can end faction play, and then I'll draw the next card. Oops, and card play. There we go. Good. And that's Fred first eligible on the next event. Fan Quang down. And Liz will get a turn soon, I promise you.
Oh, yes. No, don't worry. I'm just hanging out because I'm looking at all the stuff thinking, what is happening to Vassal? So
Great, yeah.
And I think I'm going to get a full turn first. I'm not that interested in the event for now. Maybe it's a mistake, but
the first of many.
Yeah. I think that's the thing, and it's also a freeing thought that I consider all of my moves mistakes, and that's very liberating. So that's the way. If people are struggling with analysis paralysis, they should play more like me. So what I want to do is.
Fred, I have one suggestion here. If you took the event, it would mean I would be very likely to be able to play my linebacker special capability, which would hurt Cory.
And your linebackers, your pivotal events, you mean?
Yep.
But the thing is that
that's my only strategic comment.
Yeah, but what does the linebacker pivotal event do?
It will half the MVA resources and remove 2 of their bases. And
yeah, so it'll drop me to 5 resources, lose me 2 bases, and he gets his 2 casualties back.
So if I play the event, you do this?
Yes. On my next turn.
Yeah, but I feel like I'm getting tricked here. I'm getting tricked. I feel, okay.
I mean, historically, you could not trust the US.
Yes. But I'm gonna show goodwill. I'm gonna take the event. I'm gonna shift Saigon 1 level toward active support, and it does give you 6 points. It gives me 5 victory points. I mean, it's more favorable for you. So I'm gonna put this at this, and then I'm gonna increase my patronage by 5. And how can I do this here?
There's a big button at the top that says plus patronage.
So leaks from the Nixon administration are that after declaring a bombing pause, they're considering linebacker 2.
God, psych.
We've just been talking about it over open channels, really. Terrible upsec in the administration here.
And that would be it for me. And that gives actually the option for Liz to do up and SA. So full turn.
Yeah, I'm thinking about whether I want to do that, or I'm kind of looking at this Agent Orange
Oh.
upcoming event.
So there's a very good chance I'll be playing my Pivotal next.
I don't know
Yeah,
what that means.
Oh, so we have these special cards, pivotal cards, which we can
Okay.
play when certain conditions are met, which lets us kind of leapfrog to the top of the queue, and then it also plays over the current event, so it will block Agent Orange and play one of our own events instead.
Gotcha. So it might be smarter for me to just play a full turn.
Yeah,
I think so,
exactly.
yeah. Either me or Cory will be doing that on the next card, I would say. Yep.
Especially as Joe just committed to playing linebacker 2. So the only thing that would prevent Joe from playing linebacker 2 would be Cory playing his own one. So yeah, there is almost no chance that the upcoming event is going to be played.
All right, cool. So that would mean that I want to go here.
Yeah.
I'm learning how to move the pieces, y'all. Excellent.
Welcome to Vassal. Yeah.
I feel like I'm learning two things at once, which is this game and
yes, yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, what might be fun to do? How about I do a terrorism?
Yep.
I could do some
when
terror.
in doubt, a bit of terrorism usually is never a bad choice.
Okay,
When
so
in doubt.
here's what I'm thinking. Like, I don't actually know what I'm doing, but it seems to me that it might be cool to do a terror activity, and then since I can add a special activity, then to tax, because I can push opposition one way and then pull it the other and get some resources.
Yep, that's a good combo.
Is that a reasonable choice?
So Liz has already learned the ultimate way to play the VC. It's Angry Agricola.
Okay, so I'm looking at my packs just to kind of make sure I know what I can do. All right, so if I want to do terror, all right, it's one resource per province, and it has to be spaces that have underground guerrillas, but it can be any space that has them, right?
Yep, that's right.
So what would be the most annoying places to do that? And also places that I can still tax. What were the limits on taxation again?
Tax it has to be not coin controlled, so
Not
either
coin
uncontrolled or NVA controlled. And actually, one thing I would suggest is, so in Tainan in particular, which would work for this bit just near Saigon, if you tax first, you can then terror to put it back to active opposition. If that makes sense.
Does it matter what order I do it? Can I do it in that order?
It does, because you couldn't currently terror to push it past active opposition, which is the most opposition you can have. So if you tax first, it will go down to passive, and then it'll go back up to active.
Right, but I'm allowed to tax first.
Yeah,
Yes.
you are. Yep.
Okay, so that I
you
like
could,
that. I like that.
You could do some terror tax and do more terror after that if you want.
Absolutely.
See, things I didn't know, because that was not clear to me. So okay, let's go ahead and do, I guess the other thing is, it's like, okay, like terror costs me and then I'm gonna tax. So I'm trying to think about like where I want to do it and how many resources I have. Because I mean, am I gonna just have like a net no progress doing this?
Not from Tainan, because you get twice the population during terror there, if that makes sense. So you'll come out ahead on this. Yep.
Haha. Okay. See, now I'm just asking the questions so that everyone else can learn the game. Obviously.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. It's
Very smart.
It's for y'all's benefit out there.
You're a great co-host, Liz. That's perfect. Guided question. That's the way to go.
Of course, because it's not that I don't know what I'm doing at all. It's simply questions to help others. All right. I would like to do terror in Tainan and in maybe Bindin.
Yep.
Because that way I'm kind of still pulling things in a nice way for me. And I can spend 2 resources and then I'll make 4, right? Is that the thought?
That's right. Yep. If you do that. Yep.
Yeah, I think that sounds great.
So, all right. I guess or should I tax first?
You should tax and Tainan first, certainly.
Okay, so I'll tax and Tainan. And that is 2 resources up, right? So take me from 6 to 8.
4. You gain
4.
So it's double the population. Yep. And it also activates one of these guerrillas for doing government work.
No. All right. Well, you know, they knew what they were risking.
Yep.
And then that's going to move towards support like that, right?
Yep, that's right.
Perfect. Okay. And then, but I can keep doing this. What's the limit to place I can do? It's like 4, right?
That's right. Yep.
Well then, let's go ahead and also do it in is it Kwangduk Longkan? Let's just say that is a great pronunciation, and I'm not
think it's-
butchering languages at all.
I think that
And
sounds
that'll
better than any of us than Volko. So
it's
that's good.
2, right?
For that one, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So then I flip my gorilla. Flip to active, and then move this towards support.
Yep.
And then let's Can
You
I do
al-
it up here in Bindon?
Yeah.
Yep.
You also have some provinces down in the Delta that you could do it in. Just
Oh,
be
yeah.
aware that your gorillas are easy to kill when they are active.
Yeah, that was my thought. I was thinking like, let's just maybe I might do some terror down there, but I prefer to tax up here.
Yep.
That
that's smart.
seems like a choice. All right, so in Bindon, that's going to net me another 4, right?
That's
Mhm.
correct.
Yep.
I'm so rich, and that'll last not at all.
And
I
did
know
you
how this.
shift? Did
I
you
just
shift
shifted, and
Bindon?
I'm making him active, and I'm making this towards support.
Ah, yeah. Okay.
All right. So now that I've done my taxations, I'm going to call that it on taxation. Now I want to terrorize some people. So I would like to spend how many it's just as many resources I have, right?
Yep, as much as
Like
you
I
want.
can just so I want to terrorize all the places that I just taxed.
Yep.
So clearly
that's awful, Liz. Why would you do
You,
something
you
like
just
that?
need underground gorillas, so you won't be able to do it in, I think it was Kwangduk.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's right.
Kwangduk is not possible anymore.
And
But all the other,
and if you do it in Bindin, it will leave your base vulnerable, I think.
A little
Well-
vulnerable, although it's harder for us. Yeah, if all the gorillas are active, the base is vulnerable, but it's relatively tough in those mountain provinces for us to.
Yeah, and happily there aren't a lot of U.S. around, and there are no airstrikes because of bombing pause, so that's good for.
I'm just going to do it because you know what? I don't know what I'm doing, and that's the perfect time to just make stupid choices.
No
right.
airstrikes because of bombing pause, except for linebacker 2.
We promised no
Right.
airstrikes in South Vietnam, to be clear.
Right, okay.
All right,
Diplomats.
As I think about where I would like to terrorize people, then, so tell me the full consequences of my terrors again, so that I and everybody watching can know.
So you activate one underground gorilla,
Yeah.
shift one step towards active opposition, and then place
Yep.
a terror marker, which you'll be able to vassal, by the way, by right-clicking on the population number. And then
Okay.
you get a big menu, and you can press place terror.
All right, so let me think about this.
And linebacker 2 is going to hit the NVA. It's not going to hit the VC anyway.
I think I'm just gonna go for it. We're gonna do one terror here in Bindon. We are gonna do another terror down here in Tainan.
I'm going to place the terror markers as you go, if that's okay.
I appreciate that.
That's okay.
That way I don't have to waste everybody's time trying to figure it out. I almost adjusted towards support. That's not the point. No, thank you.
There's
and
something
then,
beautiful about the U.S. player helping adjust towards opposition.
right?
And add
Yes.
terror markers.
It's very charming.
Yeah.
What about here in Kinhua Vinh Binh?
Yep.
That might
you
be
don't
a
want to
good
do
place.
that. No.
No? Why no? I mean,
Don't-
don't the gorillas just
Fred is
exist to
just-
die? Isn't there?
Because that would be painful. I don't
Fred
want
is
you
just trying to confuse you.
I think
Don't
I want to do
listen.
that. I think I absolutely want to do that.
Oh.
Yep.
Ha. And then I'm gonna do one here in Kingyangjiang on
Yeah, yep.
Zhen. I don't know how to do these. I mean, I
You're
feel like
doing
making
better.
things
You're doing
in
better
English-
than any of the rest of us.
I feel like
so-
making things in English letters actually just makes it worse.
Mhm.
So I've terrorized 4 places like a boss. So I'll cost myself 4 resources, and we'll call that a turn.
Yep, that's pretty good, I think.
That's a pretty that's a busy turn. So that's good.
Cool.
Yes.
Hey,
And
hey,
as-
Fred, are
as
you
Fred-
having
yeah.
Fred? Are you having a hard time controlling South Vietnam right now? Looks like you are.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? That's the thing. I want to give you a false sense of victory before crushing your hopes and dreams. So that's and for this to happen, I need to give you that preliminary sense of, oh, look, we're doing things, and then everything is gonna collapse. Cory.
We're on the
everything.
next turn then on Agent Orange, and I'm actually first eligible, but I think Cory's about to play as pivotal, so that's that.
I mean, what would ever give you that idea that I'm going to play the pivotal? But yeah, pivotal's been played. It's on the stack. So the pivotal, what it's going to let me do is I get to do a bunch of free marches, and then I get to move troops of having LOCs, an additional space, and then everywhere I get to attack.
Here they
And one thing
come.
from
Troops get
note,
to attack.
Sorry, just one thing to note for your attack as well. Bear in mind that this PT-76 capability will mean you remove one troop's cube in every space before you attack.
Yep.
Just so you know, because that changes the maths a little.
It does change the math a little, and I was just looking at my stuff, and it's like, did I move enough units last time? I don't think I did, but it's okay. Don't worry about it. We'll be fine.
So
It
I guess we'll just let you move stuff while we...
Yeah, and I was looking at the chat, and it was really funny because Gary from Art Worlds there just came in, say hi, and Mark was here waiting for him to come to snipe him and remind him that we're still waiting for him to give a date for the next episode of Pacific War. So he got bullied and then left. So it was a bit sad, but it was nice for you, Gary, to stop by. And
terrorism,
nice move,
bullying. This is so wholesome.
Yes.
Another good rule to remember is remember that Mark Herman is everywhere.
Yes, he's always here. He might actually pop in the stream. Everything is possible.
7.
And yeah, as Fred was saying, Lizard, I think, already figured out the core loop for Vietcong, which is get resources, then get more terror.
Was Fred saying that, or was Goat saying that?
One of you did.
I think it was Cory. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah.
I usually
right.
don't say intelligent things like this.
All right. Just doing all my maths, counting stuff up. I'll talk through my moves here in a second.
Well,
So while he's doing that, what do the terror markers do to everyone else? What is their consequence?
Primarily, so outside of some events which might refer to them, they basically just act as a roadblock for our pacification, and actually your agitate as well, which is a similar thing. So both of us have a kind of peaceful way of increasing support or opposition, and we need to first pay to remove the terror markers, and then we can pay to shift towards opposition or support. So that's basically what happens.
So shockingly, I made some bad choices earlier and had some bad math. So unfortunately, I'm not going to completely clear out Hue. Very sad about that. I have invaded Hue, Da Nang. Where else did I move? And down here in the Delta. Completely covered up. Quinoa? No.
Kinfong, I think.
Kinfong. Yeah. Okay. And that's because I kind of wasted my pivotal by actually moving stuff beforehand, but that's fine. Just learn from me. Don't do things that I'm going to do here. I have no one unlocks that are going to move, so we're going to skip that part of the card, and then I'm just going to do a bunch of attacks. Attacks are pretty simple for the NVA. I remove one enemy for each 2 troops I have.
Yep.
I do lose a guy in each of these spaces, though, a troop in each of these spaces before the attack, because apparently, the Arvin have like armor or something. I don't know.
I think it's actually because your Soviet supplied PT-76 tanks may be amphibious, but they're also fairly lightly armored, is my understanding of what's going on.
Okay.
And also the Arvin are getting better and better at the anti-armor warfare as well.
Yep. So it's a kind of relative strength thing. Yep. Cool. We'll just let Cory rattle through this, I think.
Yeah, give me a second. I got Vassal started stacking stuff, so it looks like I have a better advantage in Hue than I do. All right. So Hue, I'm gonna remove to available one guy. I have 11 left, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I thought I had.
It's enough
11.
to remove 5 anyway.
Yeah. So remove 5. I have to do the regular last, right?
You do
That's
have
not true.
11. There
You
was
can take
just
it
2 that were stacked together. You do have 11 here.
Okay. Cool.
You can take the irregular first.
Okay. So I'm gonna take the irregular. Regulars go to available or casualties?
Casualties.
Okay, that's what I thought, but don't remember anything anymore. Arvin all going to available, and then 1 police is also going to available.
Mm-hmm.
So Hue is mostly cleared out. You have, the lone cop there that's holding down the fort.
Hue PD.
Right? It's a sequel to Saigon PD.
Yep.
We're gonna go for Da Nang next. So I'm gonna remove one of my guys to available. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 here. I can remove everything.
Yep. That all goes to casualties except the police.
Yeah, so remove to available, and
then there are going to be some NVA losses for U.S. firepower there.
That's true. Yeah, because you removed every U.S. non-irregular you remove, I believe. You remove a troop as well.
Yeah, so I need to remove 1 there and 1 here as well. All right, cool.
Thanks, Volko.
Thank you. I totally did not remember that.
Volko's got my back.
Well, I mean,
okay.
Enlock, PD just going away.
Yep.
I do lose another guy though, unfortunately. And Kian Fong, PD again, going away.
Yep.
And one of my guys going away. All right, that was my pivotal.
That's
it's not the biggest Easter offensive.
That then, because I'm the only one eligible, I could take a full turn if I wished. I mean, you did get rid of a lot of US pieces, which is the important thing, really.
One more, sorry, Kingman.
Yeah. Okay. Oh,
But yeah, forgot about that one.
So I'm actually just going to pass, so I can play my pivotal on the next turn. 1, 2, 3. So that gives Avin resources, and we can end card play and draw card.
Did you change my resources already?
Yes!
I did, yeah. Yep, and we have the coup coming up. So this actually means I cannot use linebacker because I'm not allowed to use it if coup is the next card showing. So that scuppers my plans. And this actually means Liz could play this event if you wanted to do the Tet offensive again.
No.
So,
How did I don't remember
absolutely
doing
should.
it the first time, so you should tell me about this delightful
no, so you can do this if you want, or you could just take a regular full turn. So this is your pivotal event, and this would actually, you would get it back into your hand and could then play it later on in the campaign. And this card basically lets you do terror everywhere on the map for free, and add some free pieces into cities. So it could be a pretty good idea.
It could be nice.
Oh yeah.
Just-
That's an easy choice. I want that. Give me that.
Oh no, wait, except
Wait, no, she's gonna lose
No,
it for the.
you will lose it because, sorry, so this is important.
Ah.
Because of how the Fall of Saigon rules work, you would lose it. So in fact, you should not do that because you would lose it immediately because we're about to
Man,
enter
that's some
the Fall of Saigon.
garbage.
Yeah, that is some garbage. I'm
It
not
does
happy
seem
about
like an amazing idea to just let the VC
Yes.
have 2 pivotals going into Fall of Saigon.
Let
It
me
would be
have
really
something.
useful.
What's my other pivotal? I don't even know where anything is on Vessel. I'm like scrolling around like a lost lamb.
So you don't have your other pivotal yet. Once we
Yep,
finish
yep.
out this cute coup, we're all gonna get new pivotals.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll explain
okay.
how that works then. But you don't
So at
need
least
to worry
there's
about
that.
Pet 2. So that's fine.
You
Little
showed
pet.
me so much glory and then took it from me. It's
I
cruel.
know, sorry.
Okay. So I have some questions about what I could do going forward. Then, since I do get to lead off, right? So I can pick what I want to do. So I might as well do something really nice for myself.
Yes,
And
exactly.
and maybe for Cory too, but like,
Don't be too nice with Cory. He
Yeah.
did already well that campaign. So
yeah,
Yep.
Really, Fred? You were saying I was making mistakes left and right.
that
All right.
was
Yep.
psychological warfare, Cory.
One consideration for you, Liz, is that after the coup, all the guerrillas will go back underground.
so I don't need to worry about that.
Yeah,
But I might like to get more of them out. That might
Absolutely.
be a good choice. So I was thinking that I might do a rally.
Yep, I think a big rally now would be perfectly sensible.
Right. Okay. So let me check how I'm allowed to do that. So sorry, everyone out there. I have like a very rudimentary understanding of what I'm supposed to do, but I've never actually played this. So I'm like, theoretically, I have ideas for what to do, but then how to technically make them happen. Okay. All right. So I think that rally might be good. And then
if you're gonna rally, you can tax or subvert with it, right? So do you need more
Yeah.
money? I don't know if that's actually true. You might want to
I
take
think
the
I'm
keeper, but I don't know
Well,
if that's actually
so
a good plan.
one consideration on the money front is just to foreshadow this. Once we get into Fall of Saigon, to reflect the kind of weakened nature of Viet Cong, all of your operations will cost 2 resources. So getting
so
extra
this
money
is my
now might
last
not-
chance.
to do things which are cheap. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So I guess I'll have to rally big and then do some taxation.
I think that would make sense. Yeah.
Okay, so I can rally in any provinces or cities without support.
Mhm.
1 resource per space. And I can place 1 guerrilla or replace 2 with the base. So I'd like to get some bases out later, but I don't have the guerrilla forces out there to make that happen.
Yeah.
And I don't really need to worry about flipping anything right now.
No.
Okay.
And so where there is a base already, so in Tainin, for instance, you can add guerrillas
can
equal
double
to
up, right?
population plus bases. Yeah, so you could place three guerrillas there. Yep.
I can place 3.
Three
Yeah,
guerrillas.
two
Yep.
for the
That sounds like a
population.
very good choice.
Yeah,
And for
one
one
for the
resource
base.
still?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so absolutely yes. So let's go ahead and how do I put a guerrilla out? Do I
You can drag them, or you can ask me to do it, or
hang on?
you
Oh,
do
I
it.
can
Or you
enter
can-
a number to grab
Yep, that's
3, and then I can click and drag to draw that number.
right. Yes, that'll do it.
I don't know if that worked. There's
It did,
Yeah,
yeah,
it did work.
that-
Oh,
that-
hey! Look at
Yep,
me
I'll
learning,
Success.
unstack. There you go.
learning
There you
things today. Thank you. Okay, so I'll go spend that resource before I forget because that would be classic me. Okay, so that was 1 resource, but I can do just more horrible things around here, and I think I absolutely should while I still have the time and the money. Okay, so
You and I are not doing the horrible things, okay? We
Yeah,
are fighting
that's
for
true.
justice and
I'm a
freedom and peace.
I'm a daughter of liberty. All right, so let's see. Can I still rally in places where there is terror?
Yes, you can.
I'm assuming handling the coin control stuff is
It's automatic.
Arvin's job. Oh,
Uh,
so you have to
yeah, it's
outnumber,
automatic.
don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many gorillas can I place in Kinjang on Shwen?
So that's gonna be 3
there.
also. Yeah, 2 for the pop and 1 for the base.
Would that mess up coin control down there?
Yeah,
It
that's good.
Will yes.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, that sounds like a great idea. Let's do that. All right, so let's just put out 3 gorillas there. I'm just putting all my gorillas out. Why not?
Yeah, I think that's smart.
What? There's no reason not to do this. Okay, except what I'll ever discover later. Will somebody split those up for me when I go pay my resource?
I'll take
Okay,
those.
so I did that. Oh no, my resource token ended up somewhere weird on the board because it moved.
Oh,
Oh, it
if
ended
you
up at the
look
fish
it.
hook. Amazing.
That's okay.
Okay, let
It's-
me get that. It took it to 10. Okay,
Yeah.
there we go. All right. That was a magical transportation.
And for the resource, if you don't want to, if you want to be sure about where it moves, the best way to move it is to so if you look at the middle of the board, you have the Viet Cong, the blue box, where you have your bases and your guerrilla, and actually you have 2 buttons for resource plus and resource minus, and this will move your resource token, so you don't have to touch it directly.
middle. Do you mean like on the top bar?
There is on the top bar as well. The
Yeah.
light blue button.
plus minus?
Will do it for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. That'll do it.
Okay, all right. I'll experiment with that in a second. Okay, so I've done 2 resources, but I should just spend more because obviously that is the right choice. So where are some other good places to put people? What about I will also I'm happy to accept advice on this matter, but maybe Bin Din.
Yep.
Seems like a good spot.
Yeah, so you can get
'Cause I
the cheap offer there as well.
Absolutely.
Gorillas.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's a 3 again, right?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Discount gorillas. Joe, come on.
Look, I'm just bitter because I didn't get to do linebacker.
Okay. Okay, so I'm moving 3 over there. I think that was the right spot that I moved them to,
Yep.
but I couldn't totally see. Okay, good. All right, and then if I hit the minus, will my resources go down? Yes. Okay, learning things today. And then I could just keep paying as much as I want, right? Are there any other good places? Like I will happily accept advice, even from Cory.
Sometimes it's nice
Wow.
to get your foot in the door in the cities because the Arvin
Yeah.
can basically lock those down with support and 3 guys. So Keen On right now is open to you could just plunk a guy down in there to be able to terror there in the future
Oh, that's a great
That's a
idea.
good idea.
Yep,
or
That's a
subvert.
good idea.
Let's do that.
The other one, which might be a nice idea, is Quang Nam up here, and that's
Mhm.
because one thing you're about to be able to do is agitate in the coup round, and you can do that anywhere that's not coin controlled and has a VC piece. So you can take advantage of the kind of liberated territory that the NBA is expanding into there.
Okay, I think I will do that, and then I think that will do.
Mhm.
Because I'd like to move some people onto maybe some LOCs.
You kind
On
of at
future
right now,
turns?
but
On future
with-
turns.
on
Yeah.
future turn, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just planning out my life here.
Yeah, totally.
It's where are we putting this gorilla? What was I talking about?
Up in Quang
Hong
Nam,
Nam.
so you can take advantage of that kind of
There we
liberated
go.
area, yeah.
Okay,
And then potentially
Cool.
follow them into Hue and Da Nang later on.
awesome. And then I realize I'm like looking up at my camera like an old person, but it is what it is. All right, and then I can tax.
Yeah.
So where are some good places to tax? Does terror markers affect whether I can tax people?
They don't know.
Oh, well then. I mean, what did it matter?
It matters to me.
Agitation.
So I'm definitely gonna tax and Tainin for 4.
Yep.
So let's adjust them towards support, and I'll turn over one of my new gorillas, but they're just gonna turn right back over. So it's cool. It's cool. No big deal. That's 11. Nice. Okay. Maybe I should do it in Bin Din one more time since I got a bunch of people there. It sucks to move towards support, but I'll just terrorize everyone later. It'll be fine. Because that's another 4, correct?
That's right, yeah.
Yes.
That puts me at 15. My
You'll
score.
be able to agitate in some of those places to get it back too.
You will, yeah.
Oh, baby.
I'm predicting the
Vancouver.
Paris peace talks are going to fail.
I'm thinking maybe this place I really can't pronounce, the Kinjang-Anjwen one.
Yep.
That seems like a good spot to tax.
Mhm.
I could tax one more place if I want to, right?
You could,
That's
if
up
you
to
wish.
4.
Yep. Yep.
And that would be 4 more resources for me.
If you could find a 2 population, yeah, sorry. So it's 4 more for Qingyang, and then
Okay.
if you could find another 2 population space, like Kinfong, actually, you could do.
Yeah,
Let's
King
do
Kong.
it. Why not?
That'd be
I don't
fun.
have any
That would be
Another
a
little
lot of resources.
little trick for you, Liz, is if you look at Bashuyan, it's only a 1, but it doesn't hurt your score. It just helps the U.S. a little because it's starting from neutral.
It's true.
And again, you could agitate
Let's do that one.
back.
Which one were you talking? The
Not as much
Yeah, in
money.
the-
that
in the-
one. Yeah.
over
Yeah,
there.
you only get 2 resources for that one. Yeah.
I could live with that.
Yep.
Okay.
You
That's
get an
smart.
operation for that. That's what
Thank
you
you,
get.
Valko.
Yep.
Okay. So that I think is a good turn for me because at least I'll have some money to spend.
And that gets me just a limited operation, or I can take the event and pacify at cost 0. So I actually have a proposition for Fred. So this pacify will only be able to do in spaces with troops and police, but it
Yep.
costs us 0. If you could do this in a few places like Kontum, which I wouldn't be able to. I think just
Yeah.
Kontum actually, and Kanto. If we do this, it might maximize the chances of keeping me in the war, which might be amusing. So, shall we try this?
Yeah, sure. Let's
Cool.
do that.
So
I'm
I'll
pretty
take the
sure we
event.
were already cruising for you staying in the war.
We may be, yeah. So we'll see. I can't remember the maps exactly. So I'm gonna pacify in Kinon to set it to just 1 step towards support, and then you can do up to 3 other spaces. So you actually could do Quangtri as well. So you could do Quangtri, Kontum, and Kanto. If you wish.
So I can pacify in Quantum. So that's just towards support, and I don't have to pay for this one, right?
You don't have to pay, but it's maximum 1 shift in each space. Yep. Except if you do this too much, I'm gonna win at the first
Yeah,
round. So
that's
you should
that's
do
the thing. So I can only
you
do
should
it
do Kanto
in
just 1 more level.
in
Yep.
one other space. Yeah.
Exactly. Yep.
So I want y'all to realize to notice that Joe is being an imperialist warmonger right now.
I am. I'm gonna be in big trouble soon though, because people in the US are not happy with this. So you're done.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm not
Cool.
doing it one more because that
Because
would,
then I would
reach your victory threshold.
So we draw the next card, which is the failed coup attempt. So this it means that Q is going to remain the leader of South Vietnam until the end of the war, but you need to remove 1 in 3 of your cubes in each space.
Round it down, right? Yeah.
Yep.
So
One
one
is-
here, one here.
Yep. While you run through that, I'll start talking about what we're doing next,
3
because
there?
we're immediately going to go to the Paris Peace Conference at this point to determine what happens next.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Donc ça va être 2.
Just let you rattle through that. And in a
for
moment, I'll get
numbers,
Fred
no.
to open up this. Yep. And I think we're more or less bang on schedule for when I wanted to get to Paris Peace, so this is not bad.
1, 2, 3, and
It did help that we had an early coup.
I did. Very
Is
convenient.
it just me or is Mark Herman? I'm just looking at the comments. Who are you talking to? Are you trying to make me paranoid?
Yes,
I don't know who's
he
commenting
absolutely
all these
is.
comments for me.
Spreading dissent. Yep.
good. And I'm done. Yeah.
You done with 1/3 of the
Yeah.
army of Vietnam? Going
Yes.
to prison or something? Okay, great. So now we interrupt the regular scheduled coup round to go straight to the Paris Peace Conference, because the US are pretty confident they can get a good deal. So if you open up
Yeah,
that,
I'm gonna
tab,
bring the pack, and I'm gonna bring.
I'm just gonna. So this is the first hint of the Fall Saigon materials. So I'm just going to talk through this. So this happens in extended scenarios as soon as we get to this final coup of the base game, essentially. First, we introduce 2 new concepts now, which is war weariness for the NVA and anti-war for the US. And this is going to subtract from both of our scores. So I'm going to flip over our markers here, or change them out for new ones. NVA war weariness starts on 0 because they are very violent people. US anti-war starts on 15. So you'll see right now this is going to zoom my score right down to 35. So that's a minus 15 from my overall score, basically. That's going to put me in big trouble for the rest of the game. So we do that immediately. Then we look at this kind of matrix down here to work out what the outcome of the peace talk is. So
they failed.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. So if my score had been less than 27, we would have had to go for peace. If it was between 27 and 32, I would get a choice. But as it is, there's a big anti-war movement in the US, but there's enough kind of confidence in the regime to stick it out. So we actually stay at war, which is not good. It means we don't lose any of this war stuff. We don't bring in some of the new mechanics yet, which is amusing. And then we go to the NVA, and the NVA score currently is 16. So they also stay at war. Is that right?
Yep.
But you gain 5 warrioriness at this point because people in Hanoi are tired of this. So your score goes down as well. And now, so what you should know now, in future coup rounds, I'm allowed to retreat. But until then, all of my pieces are going to stay in play, basically. So normally what would happen if I retreated is I would remove all of my troops and so on. But they're actually staying at war this time. And similarly, if the NVA retreated, they would have to move back to Cambodia and Laos. But they are not going to have to do that. So not a great demo of some of the new mechanics, but it doesn't matter. So if there had been a US retreat, we go down to the bottom of this player aid, all of my troops and bases would be out for game. I wouldn't have any econ limit on spending, and Arvin losses would become casualties. So we're not going to see that immediately, but if we continue the stream later, we would see more of that. So Fred doesn't need to worry about that. If he was worrying about that, all of his losses would go to the casualties box, and he'd have to pay extra to bring them back. And once I retreat, this US posture track is in play as well. Which you can maybe just show quickly, Fred?
Yeah.
So we're not actually going to be using this yet because I was too successful. But this, when it's in play, limits the number of spaces I can do certain actions and limits the amount of armor which Arvin can put into play. But that's not in play yet because I'm still at war.
So just to be clear, in a way, me using that last event to bump up your score just before the coup actually made it so that you didn't have any options to decide whether or not you were staying in the war.
Yep. And I would say staying in war is probably bad for the US overall because I'm going to get increasingly high anti-war
but it's good for me.
It's good for you, absolutely. It's good for you.
Yeah.
So now we go into post-Paris, and this happens anyway, and at the end of the talk. So I'm just going to press a little button here, which will do a few things. Firstly, I'll get rid of linebacker. There we go. Add pieces to map. So a few things happen. Firstly, the Arvin and NVA both have access to this new armor piece now. They've got 8 of these each. Arvin also get 3 more bases and 2 more ranges. The armor has basically got an enhanced combat potential and also can take part in a new spearhead special activity, which lets them move and then attack, which we'll see fairly soon, I imagine. We also build the Fall of Saigon deck, which I've done in advance, and we gain these new pivotal events, which I'll summarize in a moment. There's a few other changes post-Paris. So me and Arvin can train armor, and VC operations cost 2 resources each, like I mentioned before, and a few other minor things here, which we don't need to go into too much, but I'll mention when they arrive. Cory can do a special bombard action targeting just one city, but not Saigon, any other city, to remove more pieces. Otherwise, I think that's probably enough for us to go through, Fred, the new rules. Just to go through what these pivotals can do. So these actually mostly aren't playable until after Watergate, which is the first coup of Fall of Saigon, so we don't need to worry about them yet. But North Vietnam gets the Spring Offensive, which is like another kind of small version of the Easter Offensive. Viet Cong gets the Popular Mobilization, which lets them put some more pieces down on the board and do some taxing and stuff. Arvin gets the Retrenchment, which lets them do a kind of counterattack move and then put some pieces down. And mine actually is playable, so I get Accords Enforced, which if coin control is low enough, I can play. And I can potentially play this every campaign, actually. It's an ongoing thing I can use. And because I'm still at war, this is very powerful. It'll let me do lots of airstrikes. So we'll see. I'm not sure which accords I'm enforcing, seeing as we didn't agree any, but never mind. It just shows that there's a very belligerent US at this point. Okay, so I'll end card play. And so the way this deck works, we actually have a couple of regular 1968 events still, and then we'll have the new Fall of Saigon events coming in. So first, so everyone's
mathematically, the first 2 cards of that new campaign are going to be 1968 because those are the ones remaining. Because you have the coup card shuffled into 8 cards, and as soon as we're gonna go through the next event, we should have the new events coming up.
It will be more than that actually because we had 2 pivotals in there, so there's actually going to be 4 more 1968 events. So we'll see. We're going to have to get a move on if we want to get to Watergate, but we'll see how that goes. There's no need to rush. So Fred, you're up first on 2 Quark.
Okay, I'm up first here. And I think
Yeah,
now I need
Oh,
to.
sorry, no, we need to do the rest of the Q round. Sorry.
Oh yes, yeah. We didn't do it.
no,
Yeah,
it's-
we just did
no,
the Paris piece,
we
but
do
we
all the rest
didn't
of
do
the
the.
Q round.
Yes. Yeah.
So
good.
resources. Arvin gains total. Well, firstly, any road adjacent to a conquered city gets a sabotage marker. So I'll put these down. That will lower Arvin resource gain. So
Yeah.
they lose 1, 2,
2, 3.
4. So econ will go down.
Oh
to,
yes, there is a fourth one here. Yeah.
Econ will go down to 11. I'm not sure what's saying on 19. So you'll get 11 resources plus aid, which is on 20. So you'll get 31 resources. And I'm just going to move your piece here. So it'll go up to 67, sorry, nearly maximum, which is good. NDA will get number of bases in Laos and Cambodia. So 6 plus twice trail. So you'll get 12 resources.
12.
Yep. So I'll let you adjust that, Cory. And VC just gains the number of their bases. So Liz, you'll gain 4 more resources from your local rice fields.
Nice. And can I
And
also
then-
flip my gorillas over?
Yes, that will happen automatically in a moment, actually. There'll
sweet.
be a reset button. Yep. And then we
That was nice.
lose a bunch of aid for all the US casualties. So we're going to lose 18 aid. So aid is actually going to go down to 2, Fred. Our plan we discussed earlier didn't really work out. Did it?
Yes. Yeah. I actually absolutely didn't do that. So yeah.
Never mind.
I-
And then
but
we can do.
it's really mostly on you. I wanted to take a full turn, focus on the aid. I wanted to
know.
govern, do the things, and then say, take the event.
know,
We're gonna
know.
increase the support. And look, now you're stuck into the war. I don't have
Yep.
any resources. It's gonna be chaos,
true.
Joe. But the
So-
good thing is that I'm really rich.
Now, me and you can pacify in up to 4 spaces. Spaces with troops and police, which for me is only keen on. So I'm going to spend 3 of our hard-earned resources to increase support there. And this is a little bit messed up, but I'll just readjust it as we go. The module doesn't quite work. There we go. Then Liz, you can agitate in up to 4 spaces, and this is any space without coin control and with one of your pieces. And this lets you pay 1 resource per shift to shift up to 2 steps towards opposition. If that makes
But
sense.
just I can also do it because you've done one, but I can still.
Oh yeah,
do...
yeah. Fred can do this as well, but I don't
Yeah, I
think there's anywhere you want. Oh no,
No.
I can do Food 1 as well. Whoops, there we go.
Can't you do the region most up north? Quang Tri?
I haven't got any troops there, but you could do it if you wanted.
Oh, so your ranger doesn't count.
So Liz, for example, in Kwangnam, you could spend up to 2 resources, and each resource would shift you 1 step towards active opposition.
I think that would be a great idea. Let's do that.
Yeah. And if there's terror in the space, you first need to pay to remove it. So
But there's
Yeah, you
not.
could- there's not in Kwangnam, but then, for instance, in Bindin, you could spend 3 resources to remove the terror and shift to active opposition if you wanted.
You know what? I don't think it's a bad idea. Because this is, in some ways, the cheapest I'll ever get to do it again.
Yeah, exactly. It's certainly the cheapest in terms of kind of action efficiency. Yep. And then you could pick 2 other spaces to do the same if you wished.
But they can't be coin controlled. Is that the idea?
That's right. Yep, it can't be coin controlled. Yep.
Was
Okay,
money
let's-
paid? I want to know.
Yeah. She's saying it's all good. No cheating happening.
How about
I like
I'm
how
just
the
thinking-
accountant in Fred just came out. Was the money paid?
Exactly. It's very important.
how about, can I do in Bintui? Bintui,
Um,
Bintwan?
yes, you can. That's
That
a
seems
great choice.
smart. Can I spend 2 to go all the way down to active opposition here?
That's right. Yeah.
All right, let's do that. And then I'll spend 2. I think that was 2. Yes. And then 1 more space.
Yep. And Buzzy and the one which Volko suggested you do earlier might be smart.
Yeah, I think
then-
that Volko is wiser than I. So
He knows the game a bit.
He does.
ooh, there we go.
Yep. Great. So that's that done.
Yeah.
Then Fred needs to redeploy. So you need to move all of your troops from spaces without bases, but I don't think you have any. And then you can rearrange your troops around bases and cities and your police around anywhere with coin control. So you do that first, and then Cory will get to redeploy.
But do I want to do that? Well, I think that police in the lock in the north is useless now.
Yeah.
So probably it can come back here. Is there anything that I want to move? What did you say was my redeploy rules for the police?
police can go anywhere with control.
Yeah.
And actually, I'm gonna just do something. I'm gonna put this control snapshot on, so that's locked. So even if you move pieces around, it won't change until we're done now.
Yeah.
And your troops can only go to bases or cities without NBA control.
Hmm.
It's a good move, Joe, using the features of the module, because I always forget.
Yes.
It's a
Yeah.
handy one. It's handy.
But yeah, what do you recommend? Do you think that this police in Bindin should probably move away because it's useless here now?
It's not bad. It means it kind of commits some of those pieces to stay there more.
Yeah.
But they are vulnerable to subvert, so it's up to you really. Yeah, they
Yeah,
could
that's-
afford to move out.
Because I think I could actually maybe strengthen the control over the cities. Yeah.
Yep.
But then again, because Bindin looks like a bad place to be in.
Yep.
So I'm gonna go one in Kwantung, one in Kinon, and then I'm looking more. So yeah, Kanoa. Trying to figure out if there is anything here that I want to do with those.
Don't forget that you also have a police up in Hue. You
Yep.
can leave him there too. He's in my way, but like, you may want him somewhere else. I don't know.
Yeah, I was wondering, like, I actually like the idea of having one police, like having a standoff alone against
Yeah, you
all
just
of
leave
the against like most of the NVA army. I think there is a form of poetry in it, and I'm really wondering, do I want to get into the way of poetry just for efficiency? And that's something that we should always think about, even in life. So for now, I'm keeping him here.
Fred's feeling particularly French today. Okay.
I think it makes sense. The only thing that I'm wondering, I think Kanoa, I'm gonna keep it here. It keeps my control. I'm happy to have this. I want to keep it. And I think that's pretty much it. I'm thinking about the police in the lock here,
Mhm.
in the south.
It could be useful against armor. Now
Yeah.
that that's in play. So
I'm thinking that having him here, I'm pretty happy with that. And then I'm gonna make a statement that police in a way is gonna stay.
good. When that's done.
Yep.
Cool. Cory, you can move troops around bases, but probably you don't want to.
Yeah, I think the only thing I want to do is this one little troop that for some reason I left in Central Laos.
Yeah. You can move it down to Pleiku.
Yeah, he's moving down in stages because I was too zoomed in. But yeah, he's in Pleiku.
That's it.
Yep.
Okay. Then I get to, well, maybe just control, but we'll do that in a sec. Then I get to do my commitment. So 1 in 3 of my troops in casualties goes out of play, and the other 2 need to go back into the map. And I'll put 1 in Quang Tin and 1 in Quang Tri. Then and my base goes out of play as well, and the regulars go back to available, and then I could commit up to 8 more troops, or I could remove some troops, but I'm not going to remove any.
Remove the troops. Remove the troops.
What I am going to do,
Get out.
actually maybe I shouldn't do that. I'm going to move these bases around, so I'm going to put 1 in Quang Tin and 1 in Quang Tri, and we're going to try and hold the line in a couple of spaces. So then I'm going to move a few troops around, which I'm allowed to do as well. I'm not just making this up, but I have been known to do that. And this may end up being foolish, but we'll see how it goes. 1 there, 1 there, 1 there. I can't move anyone else around, so we'll move this one up here. And you know what? I'm going to send in 1 more troop as well. So there we go. We've got 2 little bases in Quang Tri and Quang Tin because we're committed to this war, and we're gonna. Oh, there's that guy in Bindin. So yeah, scratch that. Scratch that. He's moving. He's out of here. There we go. There we go. So we're holding a line in Quang Tri and Quang Tin, and we're going to stop the NVA invasion, which obviously just has to come in a straight line down from the north. There's none of this other country's business. Good.
Well, they're not
So
part of
that's-
this conflict.
No, exactly. So nothing else happens. Then we just do reset, which should remove everything and put everyone back underground, and then we can continue. So
Nice.
now we're back in, and Fred is first on this event to Quark.
Okay,
Unless
unless
you-
someone plays a pivotal.
let me just see, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You've got exactly 16 control, I believe. Does that sound right? Fred?
Yes, I think so.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to play Chords
No,
Enforced.
but no, but come on. Don't you want to
What?
wait?
Wait, Accords Enforced is 18, man.
Less than 18.
Oh, dear.
I'm doing it.
No, but
doing it.
the thing is, Joe, let's talk about it.
No, you'll get a full turn anyway, Fred.
Will I get? Oh,
Yeah.
You'll
So
get
I'm
a full
gonna
turn.
play-
You just don't get an
okay.
event.
But then I don't care. Yeah, do whatever
So I
you
get
want.
to go first. So I'm doing all that bombing I threatened not to do last campaign. I'm doing now. So normally what Chords Enforced does is just improve US posture one space, but in this case it's actually gonna.
But the thing I was about to say is
do a bunch
that
of airstrike.
don't you want to prevent the next event, or that doesn't really matter?
Yeah, and actually the Chords Enforced isn't super useful yet because I can only airstrike, and he's got no. That's okay. I'm gonna do it anyway because there might not be a better opportunity. So I can do 3 airstrikes. Each airstrike I roll a dice and remove that number of people. And we've got this arc-light capability. So normally I can only airstrike spaces with coin pieces, but we can do one target per airstrike, and this is 3 separate airstrikes, I believe, can target other spaces. So I'm going to do 1 airstrike first, targeting Qianfeng and possibly the trail. So I remove 5 MVA troops and shift once towards active opposition. So I'm using all 5 hits from that. Then I'm gonna target Qianfeng again. I've got 3, which removes all of those, and then hopefully I'm gonna target the trail with this last die roll. So let's try that. That was the wrong die, but I'll take it anyway. So that's 5 hits. So I can use 2 of those to. I can degrade the trail down to 2. It can't go any lower because he's got anti-aircraft. And then I've got a couple more hits there, 3 more hits. So I'll remove. I'm carefully not targeting any of the provinces that like me. You'll notice.
Smart.
So I'll just take off those, and that's it. I can target this one because there's oven there. That's the end of my turn, and then you can have your turn, Fred.
So a massive bombardment campaign.
Yep, I'm going to pop away for 1 second while you take your turn.
Yeah, sure. And
that
I will
was,
ask.
that was essentially historically replacing linebacker 2, which of course was massive in the north to influence the talks.
forgot
But
the-
here, I guess, after the failed talks, just a smaller version in the south.
Yep, exactly. And actually, I forgot the important bit. It lowers MVA resources to half as well. Down to 11.
That's the north part of it.
Ouch.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Lots of bombing.
Brutal. I think that what I'm going to do is I've heard about those tanks and I want to have some tanks. So the first thing that I'm going to do for that campaign is I'm going to start to do some train and I'm thinking that with train I can do govern, transport, or spearheads, but I don't want to do some spearhead yet. I think I want to see if there are opponent techs coming up on the board before doing that. So I'm going to do some train. So 3 resource per space. So in cities or provinces without NVA control. So where should I do that? So I think I'm going to do it. And I need to check what it does. I'm probably going to do it in city and coin-based spaces because that's probably where I'm going to get the most value out of. And if I do a train in a city and a coin base, I either place 1 or 2 rangers, 1 or more, or up to 6 Arvin cubes. And I have to choose. I cannot combine, right, Volko? It's not a full buffet.
Yeah, I'm just reaching quickly for the charts and see what can you get armor as well.
Yeah, he can. Instead of your coin base, you can do an armor.
Yeah. So I think that in Saigon, I'm gonna add an armor. So that's my first, and that's gonna cost me. 3 resources.
Fred's worked out how to put tanks in. That's good.
Yeah. And why did my? Oh, it looks like I already had a lot less money. Is it what?
I spent a bunch of it on.
Yeah, you spent my money. That's why.
Yeah.
Oh, God, I shouldn't have.
I spent it on things like bridges and rice.
Yeah, but that's not really what we need now.
You spent it on things like bridges and rice, but then you bombed said bridges and rice.
Yes.
No,
that's
I
it.
didn't. I was very careful to bomb the only places where I didn't build bridges and rice, actually.
You're sending mixed signals here. I think.
No, the signals are.
You
you
burned
come
different bridges and rice, but like still.
I'm sending very clear signals. The signals are if you live in Viet Cong or NVA controlled spaces, you get bombed, and if you move out of those spaces, you don't get bombed.
And I
Such
think
an imperialist, Joe. What happened to you, man?
I met Stephen. He's
Global moral
Got me
leader
the ways.
by rear end.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Make sure you let Steven know. I have not once tried to attack my ally in this game yet.
Sure you haven't-
Yet, yeah,
Yet.
the game has
Yeah,
been short.
that's the
Yeah,
key.
yeah. Just don't make promises you can keep. So
I'm
that's
just ignoring the blue units on the map. They don't exist for me.
1 armor in Saigon, 1 armor in Kanto, 6 troops in Pyongyang. So that's for that. And then I'm thinking about I'm gonna place. And it's up to 6. It doesn't have to be 6 troops.
Doesn't need to be, no. But you may as well.
Yeah, I'm going
yeah.
to place
And it's
1
fleet
armor.
as well if you want. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true. I'm gonna place 1 armor in Pleiku.
Mhm.
I think I'm gonna use it, and that's also gonna let me 3. 1, 2, 3.
One interesting point here, because I stayed at war, Fred can deploy as much armor as he wants, whereas normally that's limited by the US posture. But there's no constraints on what we sell him or send him at this point.
Yeah, this is a little harsh because I have some pretty hard restraints on how fast my armor comes out.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, it's not too bad for you though. You've got these
And-
SA2s, so you can rally to improve a trail twice in one action as well. So it's not too bad.
1 armor in Quang Tri.
Just need Leduan to come out.
1, 2, 3. And then I'm thinking, where else could I do stuff? What do you think, Joe? I'm thinking about Kinon and Kamran, and I'm wondering if I should also recruit there.
I'd say it's not really essential at this point.
Yeah, that's what I'm
NDA
thinking.
nearby.
I
can
feel
keep
like
money.
I don't really need it that much.
Yeah.
Well, actually, Kinon, I might be able to do some stuff there.
Yeah,
but-
if you put some troops there or armor eventually, you might be able to then advance into Da Nang. So some troops in Kinan wouldn't be bad. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So should we be all of the 6 troops, or should I have maybe a couple of police also coming in?
I just put the 6 troops down there.
Yeah,
personally.
6 troops down. Okay.
So then in a
good
future turn, you could patrol to move the armor into Kinan and then spearhead out of it.
Okay, so then I'm gonna place my 6 troops into Kinon, and I'm gonna unstack those, and then I'm gonna spend my 3 resources. So yeah, quite a lot of armor coming in. 1, 2, 3. All of my troops are back on the board. So the full strength of the Army of the Republic of Vietnam is here. We're armored and we're ready to fight. So that should be pretty epic. So that's what I did. Now that I'm doing this, I'm thinking about, I did a bit of train. What I can do with train is I can do a bit of governing. And
Remember the plan, Fred.
yes, but that's the thing. I'm actually respecting the plan. I'm a bit
Yeah.
late. And the thing for governing is that governing is going to help me obtain aid or patronage. And there is a few options for me to have a bit of patronage, so I can have a bit of both. So in 1 or 2 coin control spaces with support and not Saigon. But they shouldn't have been selected for training though.
That's true. So you could still do Quangtin.
That's the only place where I could do it. Ugh.
Well, you can do the 1 pops as well. It's not so bad.
Yeah, I could do. Yeah, I can also do this one.
Why don't you
Yeah.
gain aid in the 2 pop and you can get just a little bit of patronage?
Yeah, I'm gonna gain aid in here.
Fred, I just want to remind you that Joe said he was going to bomb people and then didn't bomb people. Okay, so like,
And I did.
well,
then
yeah, he did is different bombing.
He
Yeah,
eventually
it's
did
different
it.
bombing. Yeah.
So in that space, in the 1, I'm gonna get some aid. So that's gonna be 6 aid for Quangtin. So I'm gonna increase the aid. Can I increase it here? No, probably not. So I'm gonna put
There's a
it
button. I can do it if you want.
manually up to 8.
Okay, that's
Here
fine.
it is. And that decreases support to neutral.
Not if you gain aid, it doesn't decrease it.
Okay, so then I'm fine. And then I'm gonna get a tiny bit of patronage. I guess I'm gonna do it in Phu Bon because that's probably my best target to do it in.
Yeah, somewhere which you might lose control of eventually. So yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I think it's a good one. So here I'm gonna get patronage instead, and that's going to be transfer 1 aid to patronage and 1 level toward neutral. So this one is gonna go toward opposition, and then aid is going to be decreased to 7. Oh, I think I did this by accident. Yes, and then I'm going to increase my patronage by 1, putting it to 33. And this is my whole turn. So I did train, and then I did govern, and that's the end of that card play.
And one note just for people wanting to learn more about Fall of Saigon. So with train, normally you can do a pacify, which you don't want to do at this point, or put a base down. But if we were in the situation where you take casualties, you could, in addition, buy back some casualties at that point. So 1 resource each to gain your casualties back. But because I'm still at war, that's not a problem. And I think the casualties there represents more the kind of lack of material. So you're having to invest a lot more in getting more arms and so on to train more troops. But you don't need to do that because I'm supporting you. So we have Cory, MBA, first eligible, and Chow and Lai.
I'm gonna take a full turn since neither of you can screw me on this card.
Cool.
Liz, you may want to think about skipping and taking a full turn on the next card.
Okay. We can
give it
discuss
thought.
that.
Yeah. So I'm gonna do a full op in special activity. Where is it? There we go. And pretty simple. I'm gonna do a little bit of rallying to improve the trail. Get rid of some of the mud.
So maybe for the people watching, can you explain what the trail does?
So the trail does a bunch of things. It affects my ability to rally. The higher the trail value is, the more guerrillas I can bring out. Now, for me, that's not really an issue right now. All my guerrillas are out. It also affects my ability to infiltrate and bring troops out, as well as eventually bring out armor, which is why I'm doing this, because I want big tanks. I'm not getting big tanks. I'm getting like Soviet reject tanks, but it's fine. It's fine.
Well, they are big. We didn't say they were good.
Yeah.
Big, not great. But that's essentially what the trail does. Also, one of the really cool things about the trail for the NVA is it allows me to march through Laos and Cambodia. So I can move much further than you'd expect just by looking at the map. The green left half of the map kind of becomes a highway for me. And if the trail is at 4, those movements through it are free. So I can essentially go from North Vietnam right down here to the Delta and just launch attacks wherever I please and become an absolute nightmare for Fred, which is my goal here. So essentially my rally is going to do 2 things. I'm going to rally in North Vietnam because that will let me pull out an armor there. And I've done that. I need to pay a resource. And then after I've done all my rallying, which I have, I can now pay 2 resources to improve the trail by 2 boxes. It's 2 boxes. It's normally 1 box. It's 2 boxes because I have a capability here that I started the game with. So 2 resources, 2 boxes.
And that in the setup of this game kind of represents just the enhanced infrastructure NVA had by this point in the war.
Now that my trail has been fixed, I can do some infiltration. And what's going to happen is I'm going to select 1 or 2 spaces. They need an NVA base, or they need more NVA than VC, right? They're both going to be bases for me. It's going to be North Vietnam and Central Laos here. Because the trail is at 4, I can pop an armor in both of them. And then also, I can do troops and the armor, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
Okay, I was like, I'm reading, I'm like, wait, I remember this being the thing. Okay, yeah. So I can place troops up to the trail plus bases. So I'm going to put 6 troops in North Vietnam, 6 troops in Central Laos, and they're each going to get an armor.
Yep.
And that's going to be the entirety of my turn, which seems a little less than what like Fred did.
He had to pay for it.
It doesn't feel less. I think now we have the same amount of armor on the board. I have 4, you're going to have, and you're going to have 4, I think.
He's got 3 now. Yeah.
He's got 3, yeah.
Yep.
And that just more than undid the American pivotal bombing of the trail. And so that SA2's capability that the NVA inherited here, it also represents the fact that those kinds of advanced air defense weapons are protecting the North. And so this U.S. bombing is not turning out to be as effective as you might have thought. It's just been easily countered.
Yep. That's it then, Cory?
Yeah. So infiltrate, don't pay for, right? But did pay for blah 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 rally.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. So we're good. Paid my 3.
And then Liz can choose to take either the event or a limited operation, or you could pass to go first on the next card.
Okay, let's have a look. So this current event doesn't look like it does much for me, although
It's
it would
really
be-
good for me.
Yeah.
But I
One
don't know
thing
that you should be
can
worried
do,
about
Liz.
that.
Liz, you are allowed to ask Cory to transfer resources to you.
Yeah.
That is true.
You can
I didn't
trade.
even know that.
You can ask him for money to take the event, so you can actually split, like positively for you because you're spending an action to actually help him out. So
Right. Well, the other thing that Cory had said is that maybe I should pass and take a full turn. So that's the other option.
Yeah, because you're first up on the next card, so you get
Yeah.
your choice of that event, or you could, go
Full,
wreck
to
Fred's
go to
life.
full turn. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like the event isn't going to do too much. Well,
It would give you 4 resources plus whatever you can extort from Cory.
Why
Oh, I
are you
meant-
trying to get my ally to
Oh,
explore?
you mean on the next one? Yeah.
Yeah, on the next
Yeah.
one. On the next one.
next one.
The next one, the shaded option, which is your option, wouldn't do anything yet on the next one. So
Yeah, I mean, it would be
You
nice
do
to
a
get
full
some.
turn.
It would be good to get some resources without taxation, but it would also be really nice to get a full turn.
Yep.
I guess the other thing I want to talk about is if I did take a full turn, I'm thinking about whether I want to put out bases or if I want to attempt. So I see agitation on the PAX sheet, but I don't understand where it fits in with all the other things that I have available to me to do.
So you can't normally agitate during the campaign, only during the coup round.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
you don't need to worry about that at this point.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just like looking over my options and like thinking about them. So the other thing I'm thinking about is like, do I want to do something like subvert or try like a march and ambush type thing? Like, what do I want to do? And I need a full turn to do something like truly thrilling.
I don't know if the VC ever really have truly thrilling options in this game, but I do think maybe going into leaning into those angry farmer impulses is probably a good idea. Get those bases out, right? Get some more guerrillas out.
Well,
Set yourself
in
up.
terms of subverting as well, one thing to note, which Fred won't like, Fred's currently over his victory threshold here, and subvert is
You
your best
didn't
way
have
to
to
lower
mention
his
it,
victory.
Joe.
Yes.
You're my partner in that game. I don't know why you would draw attention to the fact that I am reaching my victory condition.
I can't
He's
have you
also our
getting-
game master.
Because we can't let Fred win. Like, isn't that the entire
there is
agreement between
so-
everyone?
There is so
Exactly.
many cards up to like for once. I'm doing.
We don't know that. Aren't these like randomly shuffled?
No. We know that they are gonna be at the. So this card yet is still the 1968. So we know that we have a few coming up.
There's
and
still at
then we
least
know-
5 cards until.
Yeah, at least 5 cards until the next one. So you have time to
We do.
be mean to me.
And I'm gonna take that sweet time. Yeah. What's the other?
Another approach with the VC is, you're trying to winkle your way into the different corners of the country where you can later tear or agitate to bring up. And like right now, for example, you've got places where you have no VC guerrillas, but you could rally them in there. Or in other
Yes.
cases, you could move in and stay underground because there isn't enough of enemy there to spot you. So Ann Locke, for example, you'd like to get a guerrilla in there to agitate in case the NBA don't do it for you. Where else? Cameron in the southeast, you could actually move a guerrilla in there. Let's say from Bin Tui, where you've already done you've got your opposition. Cameron, that's passive support that you could turn over to opposition.
Yeah.
Because there are only 2 there. It's not enough of a garrison to stop you from going in there without revealing it, for example. So if you're looking ahead to position your guerrillas in places to do the terror agitation later.
Yes. So basically, I should absolutely do some sort of move and then be annoying thing.
Or rally. I mean, so move.
Or rally.
Like you can't rally an Ann Locke because of the support or Cameron, but you could march in there.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
And if you do a march, keep in mind, it's nice to be on the locks because you can tax without harming opposition. And it's free to move on to the locks. It may be a bit dangerous, but if you're doing a march anyway, if you've got some spare guerrillas to move on to the lines of communication, that'll help you tax later.
Okay. Well, I think I'm definitely going to pass.
Then definitely, yeah, that's what I was about to say. Then
So
you
we'll
should
move this-
definitely pass.
So let's,
Okay, and you actually-
let's advance it as far as that.
Yeah, and you actually gain 1 resource for doing this as well.
Yeah.
You're spending some time gathering your energy.
Good, because like my source of income ain't great right now. So
So we'll do this and draw the next one.
I don't know what you're talking about, Liz. I'm the poorest person on this map.
that's
Why
because
is that?
you're not as under the ground as me. The U.S. took it. That's because of the actions of the imperialists, not me.
That is also
Hmm.
very true.
It's odd. There's one too many 1968 cards here, so I don't know what's going on.
Okay, so let's have a look at it though. So yeah, I couldn't even do Jack with this card anyway, so I'm kind of glad I passed. Because there's no way I get to do anything with this.
Yep.
Okay, so if I can take a lovely little full action. So basically I can march around and then tax on the way. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yeah, so you could tax after you've marched. So what Volker was saying is you can march onto the roads for locks for free.
Yes.
And then tax. So other places you march will cost you 2 resources. So I think Volker's advice of marching into Kamran and Unlock is pretty good, but it will cost you 2 resources each to march into those.
Yeah, I think that is solid advice. And then is there anywhere else that's worth moving?
The only other one
I'm
I
like
would
scrolling up and down the
consider.
map.
Yeah, so play coup could be okay, but it's not essential because you can rally there anyway. So I think, yeah, given that your resources are so tight, just marching into the spaces which you otherwise couldn't rally in is probably wise.
So Cameron
and all of these,
Unlock.
Yeah,
Possibly
so just
Kwang
Do I
Nam
want to
to
put somebody
Da Nang.
in? Yeah, I was gonna say I've got a couple other little cities that I can.
Because Kwang Nam, again, you're already at active opposition, and Da Nang is, you've got your buddies there.
yeah, Da Nang would make sense. Yeah, yeah, that's right.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, so moving from Kwang Nam to Da Nang. Yep.
But I would move to the road first, right?
You can do it in any order.
Or to the line
Doesn't
of.
matter. Yeah.
And it's free to move onto the line of
Communication.
communication a lot.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so like let's say, are you talking like I can move onto this one right here, for example, and that's a free move, and I can then travel the rest of the way to Cameron after I tax?
Oh, no, you can't stop.
that
So
work?
each of these can only move to one space, but you could.
Yeah.
So that one
What-
you might want to move into Cameron, but you could move. This one from Tainin, for instance, could move on to this one.
How to visualize it is your guerrillas aren't tooling down the road, okay? They're setting up a roadblock, and they're taxing people as they come by. So think of it just as a space where you're sitting there. But it's very easy to go from the jungle to the road. It costs 0.
Do I need to worry about this little cop here at the crossroads?
Not really.
Yeah.
No.
A typical effective police officer. I get it.
He could kill you. Right?
He couldn't. He would need a friend, I think.
Yeah, he's too not enough of them, huh?
Yeah.
All right, so
by
let's put
himself, all
somebody
he's doing is exactly.
into Cameron like that, and then I'll put somebody into Unlock.
Mhm.
And then what were the other ones we were looking at up north? Maybe
Da Nang would be the other one.
Yeah.
Da Nang would be a good one.
And then this is costing me a lot. This is going to be like 6, and then I should move. Wow. Hang on, my vassal just went crazy.
Ooh.
Does it ever do it where it looks like a Marvel Comics intro, like it just flashes a bunch of places and then settles again?
Yeah,
nope.
that happens.
It
It does.
Okay.
It can do. It's just
I've been having
old
some
funny
fun
pitfall.
with that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've moved 3 different guys, and then as my partner action, yeah, I mean taxation seems
so.
smart, but
If you want to tax, so you might want to move on to at least 4 locks first, because then you can tax on them and not move towards opposition.
Because it doesn't cost
So-
you
But
to
how
move
is
on
that-
to locks all over the place.
and that's free.
Yeah. So it's free to march onto them,
Okay.
and then you can tax on them with no penalty, basically. And at this point, so in the Fall of Saigon game, the cost benefit to taxing in provinces becomes much worse because it's going to cost you 2 resources for each terror to shift those back towards opposition.
Oh, my
You've
lord.
got the Mekong.
Yeah,
there.
the Mekong is a good place to
Yeah,
go.
this one's really high value, so putting someone on this.
Okay,
Would be,
so I can basically just take this guy and put him there like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Although the guy in the north, Ken Fong, you've already got active opposition.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
Kien Hua, you might want to, tax later. So it's like,
So
why
maybe
leave
the one in Kianfeng? Yeah.
Ken Hua?
Yeah, just
when
because
you
it's
can
a
do it from
passive.
Ken Fong?
So, yeah, you might still
And then
want
you've got a whole army of guerrillas in Kenjiang that could go onto that Mekong segment
Yeah,
to
this
the
one here,
north.
nice.
One
Yeah.
of them could go there, and that's not gonna,
Okay, so we'll put a
So-
dude there. We'll put a dude there.
Yeah.
And then
and so on.
Can somebody from Tainin go? I don't know what counts as adjacent.
Yeah,
Or
this
on a
whole
road.
thing is
Touching.
one big road, so you can go onto this
Yeah.
one.
Okay, so I could like put somebody like here,
Yep.
and then I can tax.
Yeah, and you might
So-
want to get onto one more just so you can tax 4 spaces
Tax all 4.
possibly.
Yeah.
So since somebody from
Um,
Bindin maybe could move on to one.
Nebendin's good. Let's do it.
Yeah.
And before
I mean, it's not
taxing,
essential. Yeah.
before taxing,
Yep.
maybe before spend your resources for the
Yes,
for the
so that was
three
6.
moves.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, yes. And then I'm gonna tax for it's just the amount on the roads, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yep,
So 5. I get 5 back.
that's right.
Nice.
And then those
Not
guerrillas
bad.
go
Not a
active,
bad
right?
net spend for all that. Okay, cool.
Pretty good.
Yeah, these all go active as well. They've shown themselves and are vulnerable to attack now.
No. Well, you know what? We needed money. Go get it for
but
me.
you did need the money. Yep. Fred, what are you up to?
Okay, so I can do a lim up or the event, or I can wait and get a full turn next round, which is probably what I will do. So I'm going to pass and get 3 resources.
I'm going to pass as well, so you can make it
Oh.
6.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah, good. And now we start seeing the exciting 1973 events. But first, we'll do this.
Yes.
1968.
Lade
Yeah.
one.
He's here. Good. Okay, so what do I want to do? What do I want to do? What do I want to do? What do you think, Joe?
Awesome.
What should I do with my my big turn? Should
don't
we
know.
showcase some of those spearhead special
Good idea.
activities? I think that could be
So
nice.
particularly that might be good because Cory's about to do Lade 1, so you might want to dent his forces first.
Yeah, exactly.
What?
So spearhead is for me to strike with armor, but I can
So-
make it fit with train and patrol. I don't think I need to train anymore, so maybe I could patrol to clean up those roads.
Yeah. Or you could train to put more armor down and then use it in the spearhead.
Oh
Another
yes, that's a
option.
good. That's
Yeah.
also a good option. That's also a good option. I could get even more tanks. I like having more tanks. So where am I going to put more tanks? Definitely in Quang Tri. I think that's probably a good idea to dispatch an armor here.
Although I fear that Lade 1 might get them, but that's fine.
Oop, no, that's not the one that I want. I definitely don't want that one to come. This is the one that I want.
Mhm.
So that's going to cost me 3. 1, 2, 3. Where else do I want some tanks?
I'd say Kinon might be good if you want to try and reconquer Da Nang.
Yeah, I guess that could be a good spot. I'm going to also place a tank there. So Arvin armor here. So that's that. And that's going to cost me 3. 1, 2, 3. And then... Trying to think about... it doesn't hurt to place another tank in Saigon, to be fair.
Mhm. Yep.
1, 2, 3.
Joe, I want you to you're tearing this country apart, man.
I don't know. Don't know about that.
You
don't know
have
how I'd describe it.
supercharged your minions in South Vietnam.
I am a little worried about the autonomy of the South Vietnamese regime, I have to say.
Stop sending
and
them tanks; it'll help.
Yeah, I'm actually getting close to having all of my tanks on the board now. I'm thinking, where do I want to put the last one? Do I want to put the last one in Pleiku?
You could do. There's not many troops to protect it.
Yeah, that's the thing
border.
that I'm worried about. I'm thinking
One in King Gang might be nice,
Mm,
just to give you a little kind of rear echelon reserve.
where did you say?
Oh, bottom left.
Kingyang. Yeah, I was thinking about here because I was thinking here I have a good base here. I'm thinking this is looking good. This looks like a good and 1, 2, 3, and then I'm wondering if I should place some rangers, some places to maybe in the future do a couple of raids. That could be fun.
I would put them in Kanto personally. The 7th city.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking because I was
I'm not
thinking
sure why
with
I'm helping you actually. You're winning right now.
with a couple of
I'll be
them
quiet.
here gives me some option to actually clean up Gengang potentially. I like that. I like that idea. It's a great idea, Joe. Love it.
The
Love
help
it.
that you're giving Fred Joe is all the help that you did not give us in John Company.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well.
1, 2, 3.
Ooh.
So those are for my second train that I did. Now I'm going to be able to do a bit of Spearhead, which is a special activity that is specific to the Fall of Saigon. So I can strike with armor on the move and potentially seize NVA armor. I don't think I'm going to have an option to do that, but we're going to see if that's possible. And I can select 2 origin spaces. And then I can, select up to 2 armor and up to 2 Arvin troop per armor, and then move them in the
And they
space
can move along one.
along one
Yep.
along one lock. I'm thinking, is it suicidal to go into North Vietnam? What do you think?
You're not allowed to do that actually because it's
Oh,
a
yeah.
contravention of international law, which I know seems an ironic constraint.
International law, come on.
I think actually. So I think more seriously,
It's a
Yeah, go on.
demilitarized zone. It's clearly a demilitarized zone. What do
It
you
doesn't
think?
look super demilitarized here. Yeah.
I think possibly the more serious point is it might provoke either Chinese or Soviet involvement in the war.
Yeah, which probably wouldn't be great. Fair enough. That being said,
You could
I
go into
guess
Central Laos though. That's allowed. Yeah.
I am allowed to go into Central Laos?
You just don't want to end the.
Yeah, I just don't
campaign.
want to end there. But then again, I have some time to come back. So if I go into Central Laos, what kind of damage I'm going to be able to give?
Y'all like how Fred's talking about this like it's a field trip?
Yeah. If you're coming from Cointry, you'd be able to remove 2 cubes for each armor, and then you could bring 3 troops with you, which would remove 1 extra. So you could remove 5 troops there if you wanted.
You could remove and try to capture his armor, right?
Not quite. He would need to remove
Why?
the troops first, and he doesn't have enough.
The troops
Yeah,
protect
it's,
the armor.
it's
Yeah,
troop then armor then base.
Yep. And it
so
would also leave your armor a little vulnerable, but
yeah, that's the thing that I'm worried about. It makes my like I put 2 armor in Central Laos and that feels a bit dangerous.
Well, you take troops along. Yeah.
you can take some troops with you. Yeah. So
Two
yeah,
troops
but I only
with
have
2
3.
armor.
I only have 3 troops with me, so it's yeah. And I guess
You've got all those Americans there.
Oh, I can use the Americans.
I don't
Well,
know if you can take Americans.
No, but I mean they'll protect
That's
protect whoever stays behind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but
I
They'll
wanna
protect Quang Tri. The Americans will protect Quang Tri.
I would suggest that Da Nang might be a good target for this, and you might
So
be able to
for
clear it
me-
out completely.
So from then, I wanted to come from the south to Da Nang. So I wanted to have those people from Kinan coming in.
And they can move up that coastal.
But that would be only and that would make it
that would remove
so
3 of them.
yeah, that would remove 3 of them. Would that give me back control? But then again, you know what? I think that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to have 1 spearhead group that is going to come from here to here. So they're going to move in along the lock and then attack. So 2 for the armor and 1 for the combination of cubes. So those are going to go 2 available, 2 available, 2 available. And then what I'm thinking is I could actually reinforce this attack by having another spearhead coming from Quang Tri.
I think that's sensible.
So I'm going to do this. And that's going to be another 3.
Yep.
Available. And then
So
I'm
that's-
thinking...
you could send this one somewhere else, couldn't you? Yeah.
Yeah, I still have this one that could go somewhere else. I'm just thinking, should I have... Yeah, Kamran was the... Yeah. What else could I do? Because it's 2 locations, so my only location left is this. But then the problem is, where do I want to send them?
So
could
were
send
all
them in-
3 your armors in Quang Tri? Were all 3 of the armors in Quang Tri?
No, one.
No. 1 came from Kinan, so that was my second my second location. Yeah.
All right, cool.
So I still have this armor and this army that could move, but I don't think that would be a great idea for them. They could actually move into Da Nang, and wipe out what's left.
They could. Yeah.
But can I remove that guerrilla piece in there with a spearhead?
No, it's
No.
not because it's not active. If it was active, you could.
Yeah. Then I don't think I'm gonna bother really.
Just leave
I
it there.
think I think I'm gonna leave my armor here. So that was my train and spearhead action.
So that's the new spearhead special activity, which is one of the main new things in Fall of Saigon, and it allows for much more dynamic kind of back and forth of the conventional war, I'd say.
Yeah, it's a bit more kinetic, and I think
I'm gonna play international forces, and we're gonna get some free world allies, possibly some French
Nice.
troops. I don't think the French actually ever fought
No.
in Vietnam, but We're going to send them.
Never.
We're setting up a big base just outside Da Nang. Very
Perfect.
historical. Okay. Okay, done. Then Empire play, and then Cory's got the fearsome later on. So this is the first of the new Fall of Saigon events here. So it's one of the main NBA leaders at this point. Or,
That's interesting. You got the anti-Laidwan right after it.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
All right, so I've been thinking about what I was going to do, but Fred kept changing his mind, so like my responses kept changing. I'm going to take Laidwan. I'm going to do 4 limited operations, and then I get a free infiltrate.
So actually, what you're doing is this.
Yeah, sorry, I put
Yeah.
myself in special op.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm taking the event.
Mhm.
2 origin space.
And that's important because then that will leave a more interesting option as a follow-up. Then yeah.
Yeah,
Because
the
we've been just
only bummer-
blabbering about armor.
Yeah.
The only bummer is I can't do a spearhead as my my operation,
No, you can't.
which is very sad for me. So let me math this out real quick. Let's look at all my free marches.
You can probably just wipe Crangtree if you want.
I was thinking about just taking back Da Nang. I can't capture the armor, but I can kill the armor.
You can remove it still. Yep.
Yeah.
That's why I was like, spearhead would be great. I love captured armor.
Yep.
Could also just wipe out Quingtree. That is very tempting. Because that's a lot of casualties for you.
Yeah. That would be pretty brutal for the US.
Even in normal attacks, armor counts as 1-for-1, right?
They do 2 hits each armor.
Yeah, okay.
Yep. Or removes 1 enemy.
Or
armor, but
removes
you
1
don't want-
armor. Yeah.
But you want to use them to remove troops, basically.
Yes. All right, yeah, we're gonna use my first action to bring down a whole bunch of troops and armor. Second action, because it's origin spaces for marching, right?
Destination. So you can move everyone
this
in.
is the one action, yeah.
Whew.
I'll be
So
honest,
the-
I can never remember which coin is which when it comes to that.
There's a fairly consistent modern historical split in that regard.
That actually makes a lot of sense. The question is, do I want to bring anyone down from Pue?
It's radios. That's what it is.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I removed 11 pieces so far. How many pieces do you have there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You have 12.
Yeah, so you could just send in 2 more from where you were doing.
That's exactly what I'm going to do.
Yep.
Actually, I don't even need to send in 2 more. I think I just need to send in 1 more because I have 1 extra right now.
Oh, right. See. Yep. But you'll
So-
lose 1, remember?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I have 1
Yeah,
extra with the loss, I think.
I see. Yep. Yeah, you do. I see it. You've got
Okay.
6 from troops, 6 from armor. Yep. So
All right,
then
so
that's
1 move. I've already removed 2 available because I'm just going to do the attack now.
Mhm.
So my attack is going to be wiping everything out, and I believe that math works out. I've
Yeah, it
removed
does.
1, 2
So-
available, so it should, yeah, okay.
I'll just send these over.
I have to say, you folks are a kinetic bunch.
We sure are. Yeah.
This,
And
so I think I've mentioned that I've gotten worse at this the more I've played the NVA, and I think it's because we play tested it a bunch, and so you just start looking for novelty at some point.
yeah, I'm going to remove 5 of your troops as well, Cory, because 4 because you killed 4 US regular things.
Yep.
Good. Then you've got 2 actions left still, actually.
Yeah, still got 2 actions left. I'm going to use 1 to pull out another armor in North Vietnam.
Hmm.
Because typically with Laidwan, what I would do is I would just pull out 4 armor.
Yep.
Solid. Doesn't super feel necessary though, because yeah, this has been a moment. I kind of want to, like, Da Nang really annoys me, right? Really annoys me.
Dang, dang.
Right?
Dang.
It's
You
like
can't do
that,
anything to it with 1 action, though.
What'd you say?
You can't do anything to it with 1 action,
Yeah.
really.
I know. That's why I'm like, I made the Quang Tree move. I think that's the best one, but Da Nang is taunting me. I am going to go ahead and just move a couple of these dudes down here into Quang Nam for control.
Okay.
I'm just going to leave that there.
And
So-
then you get to infiltrate.
Yeah, and then I get to infiltrate, and once again, I'm going to do it here and here. And so that'll be 6 troops in each, plus an armor in each.
Yep. And while you put those out, Liz could start thinking as well.
Is there a faster way to like draw these? There is.
There is, yeah.
Yeah. And Liz told you actually type the number and then drag and drop.
Yep. So yeah, Liz,
I
you
have
have the
not done
option for a
thing.
full turn open special activity if you wish to take it.
I think that it might be a good time to rally.
Mhm.
Maybe. Or I can do some terror.
So one thing I would say about Terra is because each operation costs you 2 resources now, it becomes
Yeah.
much cheaper for you to instead agitate. So you can wait until the coup round and then agitate to build opposition instead.
Yeah. So I would like to put out some bases though. So like that's something that
Yeah.
would interest me greatly. I have a lot of places that have kind of like a lot of guerrillas.
Hmm. Hmm.
And it seems like that would be smart. So it's 2 resources per space where I do that.
Yep.
I'm seeing that. Okay, so I can place. All right. So if it's a place where I already have a base, what is the procedure for doubling up?
So you can either put guerrillas there or remove 2 guerrillas to place a new base, and there can be 2 bases maximum across all factions in a space. So in Qingyang, for instance, in the south, you couldn't place a base because there's an Arvin base there. Yep,
But I could
But
do
in
one
Tainan, you
over
can.
in Tainan.
exactly.
But I think
And
a rally
Bindin as
in
well.
general would be smart.
Mhm.
So I think I would like to put bases in Tainan and Bindin.
Yep.
Because that just seems good. How do I remove these guys? Return to available forces,
click.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, that's right.
So I go like that. Boom. And then it's -2 resources for that.
Yep.
And then I can come up. Same thing with these bros. Return to available forces. Do that. I moved the wrong ones, but I'll fix that in a second. There we
That's
go.
fine.
Yeah, no one will die from this. Maybe from other things I do, but not from this. And then what are some other good places to rally? I can only rally in places where there's not support, right?
That's right. Yep.
Kind of want to
So
maximize
Qingyang-
since I'm doing it.
Yeah, Qingyang, where you have that base, would be decent.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah,
And
because I would
particularly
get
try and remove control.
three guys out, right?
Yeah.
Let's do that. So we'll move 3. And then I don't know if I want to put any more guys out, actually. I feel like I'm spending resources like water here.
Yeah, it goes quick.
How do I...
Oh, yeah,
if
I'm
you
gonna
double click on them, it
double
kind of
click on
unstacks
them.
them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay. It's like y'all are sticking together. That's rude. All right. So, and then I can do a second thing.
Everyone needs a
Ooh.
combat buddy, okay? Come on.
I want to try a subvert action just to try it.
I think so.
I
That's
think
a good
that sounds fun. So basically,
It-
I have the option, right? Okay. Does this cost me resources?
No, it's free.
Sweet. Okay. So basically, I can is it any number of locations? Max 2 spaces. There we go.
Yeah,
I can read. I can read. So 1 or 2 spaces, each with an underground gorilla. Okay, so basically in 2 spaces, I can remove either 2 of Fred's cubes, or I can replace 1 of them with a gorilla.
Yep.
Well, I think here maybe I remove 2 in Qingyang.
Yep.
This one down here. So can I take the cop out first?
Yeah, you can. Yep.
Bye. I'll return him to available forces.
Mhm.
And I'll remove
And
that.
Yeah, and actually, just
Yep.
one kind of teaching note: if US had retreated, these would also be going to casualties now.
Yeah.
So making part of
Mm.
But it's not
the
the case yet.
but
Yeah.
it's not yet. Yep. Just so
Yet.
anyone watching. might
Got a
want to know.
bunch of warmongers up in Washington right now.
And then where's another good place that I could do this? A little infiltration.
If you did it in
Cameron wouldn't be.
yeah,
a good
Cameron,
idea?
Fubon, or
Yeah.
Kanhoa, if you did it, he would lose control as well. Which
Yeah,
is nice.
that's.
Oh,
that would be
absolutely.
nice.
Let's
Yeah.
do that. Let's just remove those. I can remove them both, right?
Yeah, you can. Yep.
So I'm like a little girl, just like sneaking, chucking people out, sending them away.
Yep. I think
like
you're just,
it.
whispering to them that there's not much
Yeah,
point.
that is probably, but it is probably better to go home now. Yeah.
And now he also loses 1 patronage for every 2 pieces you removed, so he'll lose 2 patronage as well. Which
Every 2 pieces, only 3 pieces were removed.
no,
4 pieces
4 were
removed.
Yep.
Was it? Was it only one in Kiangyang?
No,
So,
I removed I removed 2. I removed your police officer and one of your yellows, and I removed
So I'm
2
just gonna
cops.
press
from
the-
Oh
the
yeah,
company.
okay,
That's
yeah,
it.
1 yellow. Okay, yeah, fair enough. Yeah,
There
so
it goes.
that's 2 patronage.
I shifted that down. Cool. Very nice turn. Then
Yes.
we and that draw the next one. So Fred is first on Arvincourt, which is, as Cory said, the anti-laid one. And there's a reason for this, which is that there is a bit of deck drafting allowed in the Fall of Saigon expansion. So we have these quite short decks, and each player is allowed to pick 1 card to go in each stack of 8. So half of the cards are actually pre-selected by us. I just did that in advance to make things easier, because if you don't know what the cards are, it's a pretty pointless process.
It is
yeah.
worth looking through on the first play, though, and choosing what you think is your best card.
Yeah, so this is the one I chose for Fred for this campaign, basically.
Laid one was mine, right? I'm assuming.
Yep.
Yeah.
And just so we are we reached the 2-hour mark. So I'm just gonna say that we are gonna end the stream now, so we can have 5-10 minutes to potentially debrief and discuss should we do an episode 2 or not. But for now, I'm gonna remove I'm gonna remove Vassal from the stream. So it's back with our faces. And yeah, but I think my first question to you, Liz, is how was the experience? I know it was overwhelming because it's learning Vassal, learning Fire in the Lake, and learning Fall of Saigon, just everything bundled in one. So it was maybe a bit much, but how did it go?
I thought it was fun. I mean, I felt like I had questions, but y'all were relatively nice to me about it. And I think that I understood enough to make decisions that made sense. Does that make sense? Like that's always the hardest part of like a game like this, where it's like, yes, I can make pieces move, right? But how do I play with some intelligence? I feel like I held my own okay.
I thought you had got to grips with that very quickly and quickly identified what you want to be doing with VC. So I think you're doing fine.
And for
I really like
you're making good choices.
Yeah.
I would absolutely play this again. I think it's really enjoyable, actually, and it was good banter as well. So good company, clearly.
Yes, there is always a tiny bit of bantering on the show, but it's never too mean, or most of the time. But yeah, I think it's really interesting. I was actually quite happy to see the kinetic aspect of the game. I would like to see it more, but it felt nice. I've always been a bit skeptical about kinetic warfare in the coin system, but I think this one was actually quite interesting because I was really thinking about my line of communication, where I wanted to place my armor, the kind of especially that spearhead action forces you to think in a very interesting way in the way you move your pieces, which I thought like made sense to me, and it was a nice addition. And so I was pleasantly surprised, I must say, and I'm actually quite looking forward to keep playing Fall of Saigon for that, because I want to I want to keep fighting Cory also. That's also the one of the main driver for this.
I actually haven't ever seen a game which was quite so kinetic as this. There's been a real kind of thrust down from the NBA and then a counterattack from Avon, supported by massive US airstrikes, which is an extreme counterfactual, but quite an interesting one to see happen.
Yeah. It is a little more normal for the U.S. to retreat after Paris peace. It was weird that we were both in a position to stay at war.
Yep.
Yeah. And you could see from those maneuvers in Spearhead, this is another reason to have the guerrillas on the locks, or other pieces hunting the guerrillas on the locks. And for the NVA, it starts to matter, because if the NVA puts a guerrilla on a lock, then the Arvin armor is they got to kill the guerrilla first, right? And so for getting between places like Wei and Da Nang and all that, the idea is that those highways became very, very important in this final mobile phase of the war. So the Spearhead special activity attempts to bring that out. And so it's sometimes said that you can divide more and less experienced coin players by whether and how they use the lines of communications in the games that have them. And so here with Fall of Saigon, we've, I think, amped that up even more.
Yeah, and if anyone's looking at this map, essentially as the NVA, my next actions are going to be put guerrillas on locks and then start the slow march down to Saigon to besiege it. Like that is how this game is going to go. I might not be successful at it, but that's what's going to happen is I'll start putting the wave of guerrillas to block Arvin advancements while I make my own advance.
So actually, just to illustrate what Volker was saying, one interesting thing, just almost a side effect of what Liz was doing with this VC guerrilla on the lock here, is it prevented Fred from spearheading back into Anlock, which I think otherwise he might have considered doing.
Which is what I was originally planning to do, but yeah, this guerrilla actually kind of completely screwed my plans here. But,
which is exactly what Liz was thinking when she did that.
Yes, I know. She knew he was get money and block any of my spearhead action. So I considered first do a patrol and then move in. But I had this option of taking back Da Nang, and I knew that Cory would be annoyed by it, so I seized it. But it wasn't my first objective. But yeah, it was super interesting. I want to say thanks a lot to all of you for taking the time for playing this. I will say that if you're up for maybe having another stream to continue at some point in January, I would be more than happy to do that. I think that would be great. Or we can do it off stream too. That's also fine if we find something that is practical but not a stream material in terms of timing. That's also fine. Thanks, Volko, for sticking around. So it was actually nice to also have you.
Yeah, it was. It was hard to break away.
Yeah, it's good to have your.
It's interesting watching.
Did we? Yeah, to have your historical comments and everything. That was really awesome. And Liz, I hope to have you again on the show very soon. I know we've talked about this Alone Together series where you make me play solo games. And I must say there is quite an appetite for me having to play solo games on the Discord server. Like they want to see me suffer, but I'm sure we're going to have a lot of fun. So I'm actually really looking forward to that. So that's something to work on for early next year. And that's maybe a good time for me to say that if you want to support the show, you can support me on Ko-fi. And when you do, you have access to the Discord server and be part of that community of people that just spend most of their time trying to force me to do stuff that I don't want to do. So it's really fun. But yeah, so thanks to all of you. Have a great evening. See you very soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks. This is awesome.
And I'm